Chapter 1073. Now, do you have any more questions? Duan Lingtian asked nonchalantly as he looked at the alchemist who doubted him. If he did not use the pill fire to refine the pills, the purity of the pills refined by this alchemist was indeed higher than the other alchemist. However, the results were the opposite when the pill fire was used to refine the pills. From the beginning of the alchemist competition, Duan Lingtian did not use the purity of the pills to determine the level of the alchemists. Apart from the purity of the pills, he also looked at the purity of the pill fire. The higher the purity of the pill fire, the more potential an alchemist had. He knew this from the reincarnation Emperor Wu's memory. The alchemist who was unconvinced was ashamed when he heard Duan Lingtian's question. He nodded apologetically at Duan Lingtian before he flew away in disappointment. Thank you, Elder Duan. On the other hand, the other alchemist was excited. He did not think he would be able to pass the semi-finals and advance to the finals. Moreover, he had become a disciple with a different surname from the Lu clan. In the alchemist competition, those who could pass the semi-finals and advance to the finals were bound to join the Lu clan. You don't have to thank me. It's because your refining skills are good. With your talent, as long as you continue to work hard, it won't be difficult for you to become a grade 3 alchemist in the future. Duan Lingtian said as he shook his head. Grade 3 alchemist? Can I really do that? The alchemist asked excitedly. He was only a grade 6 alchemist now. He did not even dare to think about whether he could become a grade 3 alchemist in the future. That will depend on your hard work. You may leave now and wait for the finals. Duan Lingtian said. Yes. The alchemist left respectfully when he heard this. At the same time, the surrounding gazes that were directed at Duan Lingtian were filled with reverence. This was a grade 1 alchemist. With just a few words, he had turned the tables on an alchemist who was originally in a disadvantageous position and advanced to the finals. No wonder it's written in the handbook left behind by the clan's ancestor. There's no mediocre grade 1 alchemist. It seems like it's true. One of the Lu clan's elders exclaimed. He was completely convinced by Duan Lingtian's method. Of course. People who can become grade 1 alchemists, which one of them isn't said to be a peerless talent in the Tao of alchemy? Another elder from the Lu clan said. No matter what, Duan Lingtian's actions earlier had won the admiration of the group of alchemists participating in the alchemist competition. At the same time, he had also intimidated the group of Lu clan's people led by the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. After Duan Lingtian's performance, no one dared to question him anymore. The semi-finals of the alchemist competition quickly came to an end. Only the 30 most outstanding alchemists remained. However, most of the alchemists that were eliminated didn't leave. Instead, they waited with great interest for the finals that was about to arrive. To them, this was undoubtedly a good opportunity to learn. The scene of so many outstanding alchemists refining medicine together was not common. Perhaps they could get some inspiration from one of the alchemists and improve their attainments in the Tao of medicine refinement. The finals began as scheduled. The 30 disciples of the Lu family who were not surnamed Lu left the stage one by one. As the main referee, Duan Lingtian was responsible for patrolling the stage. With Duan Lingtian, a grade 1 alchemist, holding the stage, the other referees, including Lu So, knew their place. They stood still and watched from afar, not daring to disturb Duan Lingtian. As time went by, the 30 alchemists began to refine the pills. Meanwhile, Duan Lingtian commented on the pills that each alchemist refined. Regardless of the length of his comments, each alchemist was convinced. During the process of commenting, Duan Lingtian's knowledge in the Tao of medicine refinement shocked everyone once again. It seems like our Lu clan has really picked up a treasure this time. I'm afraid an ordinary grade 1 alchemist is not even worthy of carrying Elder Duan's shoes in terms of theory. The clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, was a grade 2 alchemist. After witnessing Duan Lingtian's knowledge, he could not suppress his excitement. His whispers were clearly heard by the Lu clan members, causing them to be dumbstruck. Clan leader. Do you mean even our Alchemist Guild's main guild in the Southern Outer Lands Alchemist Guild is not as good as Elder Duan in terms of theory? Lu Yuan's small eyes widened, and a hint of shock could be seen on his chubby face. Guild leader Cheng, I've visited him a few times. Although he's also a grade 1 alchemist, his understanding of the Tao of medicine refinement is not as thorough as Elder Duan. This was the answer Lu Rui came to after comparing the two. At once, everyone in Lu clan fell into a dead silence. They naturally knew who the President Cheng that the clan had mentioned was. He was the guild leader of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land of Cloud Continent. He was a noble grade 1 alchemist. Cloud Continent was divided into the inner land and the outer land with the Ruoshui River as the boundary. The northern mountain land where the Lu clan was located in the outer land to the south of Cloud Continent. This area was also known as the Southern Outer Land. Speaking of which, whether it was the Dark Han dynasty where Duan Lingtian was from or the Northern Desert Land, they were both part of the Southern Outer Land. In the past, I only knew that guild leader Cheng was the only grade 1 alchemist in the Southern Outer Land. However, it seems like that's not the case. That's right. As it turns out, there's a monstrous grade 1 alchemist like Elder Duan in the Southern Outer Land. In terms of age, Elder Duan is much younger than guild leader Cheng. He's young, but his medicine refinement skills are not weak. Moreover, even the clan leader who has spoken with guild leader Cheng thinks that guild leader Cheng is not as good as Elder Duan. The group of Lu clan's elders whispered among themselves. Soon after, their eyes landed on the purple figure in the distance in unison. That young man had become even more unfathomable in their eyes. Duan Lingtian, Lu Bai had a wide smile on his face. Ever since Duan Lingtian revealed his identity as a grade 1 alchemist, apart from being surprised, there was only a smile on his face. It did not cross his mind at all. Not long ago, he was worried that Duan Lingtian would be executed by the Lu clan. However, in just a blink of an eye, he had become the most popular person in the Lu clan. Clan leader, you have such a high opinion of Elder Duan. Are you confident that you can become a grade 1 alchemist with his guidance? Lu Ji, the Lu clan's guardian elder, asked solemnly as he looked at Lu Rui. Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan, had shown outstanding talent in medicine refinement since he was young. The Lu clan's patriarch thought that he had the highest chance of becoming a grade 1 alchemist in the past 100 years. There's a chance. Lu Rui's eyes flickered. A look of anticipation appeared on his face as his eyes sparkled. Gasp! 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 The moment Lu Rui's words left his mouth, the sound of people inhaling sharply was heard. The group of Lu clan's high-ranking officials, including the 3 Lu clan's guardian elders, inhaled sharply. Lu Rui's reply completely shocked them. Their eyes shone brightly when they looked at Duan Lingtian again. It was as though he was not a person but a peerless piece of art. It was easy for people to be mesmerized by him. However, Duan Lingtian was currently commenting on the alchemists who were participating in the alchemist competition's finals. He did not notice their gazes. Soon after, he listed the 30 alchemists' rankings. None of the 30 alchemists had any objections to the rankings. Elder Lu So, I'll leave the rest to you. After he was done, Duan Lingtian returned to Xiong Quan's side and told Lu South. Lu So immediately responded and did not dare to delay. He looked at the 30 alchemists and was ready to announce the rewards that the Lu clan had decided on previously. However, before Lu So could speak, someone could not help but ask, I wonder if the top 3 in the alchemist competition will be able to receive Elder Duan's guidance? According to the rewards that the Lu clan had decided on previously, the top 3 in the alchemist competition would be able to receive guidance from the Lu clan's grade 2 alchemists. Today, the Lu clan had a new interim advisor. Moreover, he was a grade 1 alchemist who was knowledgeable in medicine refinement. This made the top 3 alchemists in the alchemist competition feel tempted. The person who asked the question was the person who ranked second in the alchemist competition. It's not a good thing to be too greedy. Lu So took a deep look at the alchemist. However, he did not give a decisive answer. Instead, he turned to look at the clan leader, Lu Rui. Elder Duan must be tired from the journey. Lu Bai, bring Elder Duan and that brother to rest. Lu Rui did not seem to notice Lu So's gaze as he looked at Lu Bai. Yes. Lu Bai replied respectfully before he looked at Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan. Xiong Quan, let's go. Duan Lingtian called out to Xiong Quan before he brought the ice coffin with him and left with Lu Bai. Before he left, he glanced at the Lu clan's senior officials and nodded at them as a form of greeting. The Lu clan's senior officials, including the clan leader and the 3 guardian elders, responded with a smile. In their eyes, Duan Lingtian was a treasure. Elder Duan was a treasure that could help the Lu clan produce another grade 1 alchemist. Duan Lingtian's departure disappointed the top 3 alchemists in the alchemist competition. Work hard after joining the Lu clan and strive to stand out in the Lu clan. At that time, you might be able to receive guidance from Elder Duan. At this moment, Lu Rui looked at the 30 Lu clan's foreign disciples and said nonchalantly. Lu Rui's words caused the 30 people's eyes to brighten immediately. Their faces were filled with anticipation. However, the Lu clan's senior officials were well aware of this. With Elder Duan's ability to guide their clan leader in medicine refinement, even the other grade 2 alchemists in the Lu clan would fight for Elder Duan's guidance. Apart from the few grade 2 alchemists, the Lu clan also had a group of grade 3 alchemists. Chapter 1074. Lu Bai's eyes inadvertently swept past the ice coffin next to Duan Lingtian when he was about to enter the Lu clan's estate. It was his first time seeing the face of the woman lying in the ice coffin. The red-clad woman left a deep impression on him. She was the woman who was with Duan Lingtian and his benefactor when he was almost killed. At that time, he was shocked by the woman's peerless appearance. This was because even in the northern mountain land, he had never seen a woman with such an outstanding appearance. She's the daughter of the person who saved you. Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Tianwu who was in the ice coffin. His eyes were filled with tenderness. Benefactor's daughter. Lu Bai's expression changed slightly. She's. At this moment, Lu Bai began to carefully study Feng Tianwu who was lying in the ice coffin. Soon, he noticed the vitality in Feng Tianwu's body. She's in a deep sleep. Her soul is injured, so she's in a coma. Duan Lingtian sighed. Lu Bai nodded solemnly. He did not fully understand. Young master. At this moment, Xiong Quan, who was standing next to Duan Lingtian, said respectfully to Duan Lingtian, I heard you say that as long as we can find some rare heaven and earth treasure, we can wake Miss Tianwu up again. The Lu clan has a history of 10,000 years. Perhaps they have a heaven and earth treasure that can wake Miss Tianwu up. Xiong Quan stared at Lu Bai with a burning gaze after he finished speaking. Xiong Quan's words made Duan Lingtian's body tremble slightly. That was right. Why did he not think of that? The Lu clan was a clan that had a history of 10,000 years. On Cloud Continent, apart from the 2 ancient clans that stood at the peak of Cloud Continent, there were only a handful of forces that had a history of 10,000 years. Of course, Duan Lingtian knew in his heart that the reason he did not think of this was because he had a preconceived notion. Through the memories of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, he knew that the treasures of heaven and earth were extremely rare. Even in the entire Cloud Continent, they were extremely rare. Even the great treasure left behind by the reincarnation Emperor Wu did not have them. It was precisely because of this that he subconsciously felt that it was impossible for the heavenly and earthly treasures that he might not even encounter in the inner land to appear in the outer land. Lu Bai, does your Lu family have the soul-fixing root and the soul-stabilizing grass? Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Bai and asked urgently. Although he wasn't sure if the Lu family had these two treasures that could help Feng Tianwu recover her soul, he still decided to ask. He didn't want to miss any opportunity. No matter what, the Lu clan had a heritage of over 10,000 years. Perhaps they had these two kinds of heavenly treasures. Soul-stabilizing root. Soul-stabilizing grass. However, Lu Bai shook his head when he heard Duan Lingtian's question. This is my first time hearing about these two things, how about this? I'll arrange a place for you to stay first. After you've rested, I'll go with you to look for the clan leader. Who knows, he might know something about it. Lu Bai suggested. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded. There was a hint of hope in his eyes. If the Lu clan really had the soul-fixing root and the soul-stabilizing grass, he could concoct the medicinal liquid and help Tianwu recover her soul in one fell swoop. Now, I can only hope that my luck is really that good. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Whether it was the soul-fixing root or the soul-stabilizing grass, they were extremely rare treasures of heaven and earth on the Cloud Continent. Even the reincarnation Emperor Wu had only seen them a few times. Soon after, Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan arrived at the buildings on the east side of the Lu clan's mansion under Lu Bai's lead. They arrived at an independent mansion within a mansion. Second young master. Outside the spacious mansion, a beautiful maid stood there and bowed respectfully to Lu Bai. All right. Lu Bai nodded at the maid and said solemnly, from today onward, Elder Duan will be staying here. I'll arrange for a few more people to come over later. All of you must serve Elder Duan well. If you displease Elder Duan and the clan leader blames you, even I won't be able to bear the consequences. Do you understand? One had to admit that Lu Bai's words shocked the maid standing at the mansion's entrance. Elder Duan. The maid's gaze swept past Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan before it finally landed on Xiong Quan. In her opinion, this older person was more like an elder. Then, I won't disturb your rest. Lu Bai nodded and smiled at Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan before he said, when both of you have rested, ask her to look for me at my mansion. All right. Duan Lingtian and Xiong Quan nodded. After Lu Bai left, the maid heaved a sigh of relief as though a heavy burden had been lifted from her shoulders. Then, she looked at Xiong Quan with a smile on her face. Nice to meet you, Elder Duan. My name is Xiao Yun. I'll be in charge of your daily life from now on. Xiong Quan was embarrassed and said awkwardly, Girl, you're mistaken. My young master is Elder Duan. As Xiong Quan spoke, he glanced at Duan Lingtian. Ah! Maid Xiao Yun was shocked. Only then did she reassess Duan Lingtian. Her beautiful face was filled with disbelief as she muttered, You're really Elder Duan? Why? Don't we look alike? Duan Lingtian was amused by maid Xiao Yun and asked jokingly. No. Elder Duan, I just find it unbelievable. Our Lu clan has never had an elder as young as you, maid Xiao Yun hurriedly replied. When she reached the end of her sentence, her beautiful eyes were filled with curiosity as she studied Duan Lingtian. It was as though she wanted to see what was so special about Duan Lingtian and how he could become an elder of their Lu clan at such a young age. Moreover, he was an elder with a different surname. Although she was only a servant girl, she still knew some things about the Lu family very well. It was impossible for a disciple with a different surname from the Lu clan to become an elder with a different surname unless he was very capable. Elder Duan, please come in. Soon after, maid Xiao Yun returned to her senses and led Duan Lingtian into the mansion behind her. She arranged a spacious room for Duan Lingtian to stay in. The room was huge, and it was fully furnished. It was the master bedroom of the mansion. Boom! Duan Lingtian raised his hand, and the ice coffin flew into the room and landed steadily on a table in the room. How beautiful! Maid Xiao Yun had long noticed the ice coffin following Duan Lingtian. It was only until now that she had the chance to study the ice coffin seriously. Soon after, she noticed the red-clad lady lying in the ice coffin. The red-robed woman lay there, her devastatingly beautiful face reflected in her eyes. She couldn't help but feel ashamed of her own inferiority. If there's nothing else, all of you can leave first. I want to rest. Duan Lingtian said. Yes, young master, Xiong Quan replied respectfully. At the same time, he looked at Maid Xiaoyun. Girl, we should leave now. Maid Xiaoyun snapped back to her senses and reluctantly shifted her gaze away from the red-clad lady in the ice coffin. She followed Xiong Quan out of the room. Xiong Quan helped Duan Lingtian close the door. Uncle, how should I address you? Maid Xiaoyun looked at Xiong Quan. Xiong Quan. Xiong Quan replied coolly. Uncle Xiong Quan. Do you know who the lady lying in the ice coffin next to Elder Duan is? It's my first time seeing such a beautiful lady in my entire life. Maid Xiaoyun asked with curiosity in her eyes. She's young master's woman. Xiong Quan sighed. When he saw that Maid Xiaoyun was about to ask more questions, he quickly said, All right, girl, don't ask any more. Help me arrange a room as well. In the master bedroom. After Xiong Quan and Maid Xiaoyun left, Duan Lingtian walked up to the ice coffin and gently caressed the ice coffin. He looked at Feng Tianwu who was lying in the ice coffin with a gentle expression on his face. Tianwu, rest well. Big brother Duan will wake you up very soon. He won't make you wait too long. You won't wait for too long, Duan Lingtian said softly. His voice was as gentle as it could be. After a while, Duan Lingtian changed into a new set of clothes and lay on the bed to rest. Before he knew it, he had fallen asleep. It had been a long time since he had such a good sleep. On the other hand, Xiong Quan had also settled down under Maid Xiaoyun's arrangement. After settling down Xiong Quan, Maid Xiaoyun's face was filled with confusion. Where did that elder Duan come from? Judging by his age, he's not much older than me. That's not right. Soon after, Maid Xiaoyun seemed to have thought of something. Her expression changed slightly. In our Lu clan, those who can become an elder with a different surname are either people with shocking abilities or extremely outstanding alchemists. If Elder Duan is a human, it's impossible for him to be so powerful at his age. It's even more impossible for him to be an alchemist who's qualified to become an elder with a different surname in our Lu clan. In other words, he's a demon. A powerful demon. Cold sweat broke out on her forehead when she thought of this. She had never come into contact with a demon in her life. I heard that demons have weird tempers. Some demons might even transform into their original forms to eat humans. Maid Xiaoyun's body trembled when she thought of this. Sister Xiaoyun. Suddenly, a voice that sounded like an oriole's came from outside the mansion. It made Maid Xiaoyun regain her senses. After wiping the cold sweat off her face, she walked out of the mansion. As soon as she walked out of the mansion, she saw 6 maids walking toward her side by side. All of you. Did second young master arrange for all of you to be here? As Lu clan's maids, they knew each other. When Xiaoyun saw the 5 maids, her eyes widened in shock. As far as she knew, in the Lu clan, there were at most 2 to 3 maids in the mansion of an ordinary elder. Even in the residence of the patriarch, there were only 5 maids. Now, there were 6 maids on her side. Including her, there were 7 of them. 7 maids serving an elder with a different surname? That elder Duan. Who is he? At this moment, Maid Xiaoyun vaguely felt that something was amiss. Even if Elder Duan was a demon monarch powerhouse, he shouldn't be treated so well, right? Big sister Xiaoyun, you'll be our big sister from now on. You're really lucky to have encountered such a good job. The 6 maids looked at Maid Xiaoyun enviously. Chapter 1075. A cushy job. Servant Xiaoyun frowned and asked, Do all of you know something? Or perhaps have you heard of that young elder Duan? It can't be. Sister Xiao Yun, you haven't heard of Elder Duan? The 6 servants looked at Xiao Yun as though they were looking at a monster. Is that strange? Seeing their reactions, Xiao Yun couldn't help but be stunned. Sister Xiao Yun, I'm afraid the entire Lu clan has already spread the news about Elder Duan. As the first person to serve Elder Duan, how could you not know about it? The 6 servants shook their heads and sighed. They thought Xiao Yun's news was outdated. Stop keeping me in suspense, you 6. Xiao Yun smiled wryly. Following that, the 6 maids no longer wasted any time and began to tell her everything they knew about Elder Duan, who had become an elder of the Lu clan as soon as he arrived at the Lu clan. Elder Duan killed Elder Lu Zhao as soon as he arrived at the Lu clan. He even killed the 3rd young master. When Xiao Yun heard about what the young Elder Duan had done and how the 2 guardian elders of the Lu clan had shown up to kill him, she could not help but break out in cold sweat for him. However, she knew Elder Duan would be fine in the end. Otherwise, she would not have the chance to serve Elder Duan. Grade 1 Alchemist. Xiao Yun's eyes narrowed when she heard the young Elder Duan had revealed his Grade 1 pill fire and his identity as a Grade 1 alchemist. An alchemist, a Grade 1 alchemist. Does this mean Elder Duan is not a demon? However, he's just a human. Apart from having the ability to kill Elder Lu Zhao, who was at the 8th level void transformation stage, he's also a noble Grade 1 alchemist. How's this possible? Xiao Yun muttered to herself. Although her voice was not loud, it still entered the ears of the other 6 servants. Sister Xiao Yun, we wouldn't believe such a human exists if it was in the past. However, the truth is right before our eyes. We have no choice but to believe it. That's right, Sister Xiao Yun. Right now, the entire Lu clan is talking about Elder Duan. They're saying Elder Duan is a rare monster on Cloud Continent. Some people even say Elder Duan is a gift from God to the Lu clan. After almost 1,000 years, a Grade 1 alchemist has appeared in the Lu clan again. If this news spreads, the entire northern mountain land and half of the southern outer land will be shocked. The 6 maids spoke one after another. Their tone was mixed with a bit of excitement. Although they were only servants, they were still considered half of the Lu clan, half of the Lu clan. I can't believe Elder Duan. Duan, recalling the purple-clothed young man who didn't put on any airs and how casual she was in front of him, the maidservant Xiao Yun felt a chill down her spine. It turned out that the purple-clothed youth was actually such an extraordinary existence. Not only was he, but he was also a Grade 1 alchemist as. Sister Xiao Yun, how is that Elder Duan? Is he easy to get along? Very soon, the 6 new maidservants asked Xiao Yun all at once. Elder Duan is very nice and easygoing. Duan Lingtian gradually woke up after sleeping for an unknown amount of time. He got out of bed after glancing at the ice coffin on the table nearby. After washing up and changing into a clean set of clothes, he walked out of his room. Elder Duan. Elder Duan. As soon as Duan Lingtian opened the door and walked out, 2 voices that sounded like orioles resonated in his ears. Only then did he realize there were 2 servants standing on both sides of his door. Morning. Duan Lingtian nodded in response. However, he could not help but smile wryly in his heart. That fellow, Lu Bai, actually found a few more servants. At the same time, Duan Lingtian noticed there were a few servants busy in the mansion he was staying in. Elder Duan, I'll get someone to clean up your room for you. Soon after, Duan Lingtian saw servant Xiao Yun walking towards him. After she greeted him, she brought the 2 servant girls with her and entered his room to clean up. Naturally, it was mainly to clean up the dust. After a while, the entire room was spotless when the 3 servants came out. Elder Duan, do you have any other orders? Servant Xiao Yun looked at Duan Lingtian respectfully after bringing the servants out. She waited for further instructions from Duan Lingtian. At this moment, Duan Lingtian also noticed. Servant Xiao Yun's attitude towards him had undergone a drastic change compared to when he first arrived. She was no longer as casual as before. Instead, her every movement was reserved. Xiao Yun, you don't have to be so reserved in front of me. Just be as casual as you want, Duan Lingtian said. I dare not. Servant Xiao Yun lowered her head as she replied. What a joke. Previously, she did not know about Elder Duan's background. However, now that she knew, she would not dare to be as casual as before even if she was given 100 guts. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian felt helpless. However, he did not insist. Instead, he said calmly, bring second young master here. Yes. Servant Xiao Yun responded and left. As for the other two servants, they returned to Duan Lingtian's room and stood there like statues. Duan Lingtian shook his head and walked out to look for Xiong Quan. As for the ice coffin in the room, he did not bring it out. In his opinion, this was the Northern Mountain's Lu family, one of the two most powerful forces in the Northern Mountain. Nobody would come here to look for trouble. Therefore, it was safe to leave it in the room temporarily. Moreover, he would not leave the Lu family anytime soon. Under the guidance of the servants, Duan Lingtian soon saw Xiong Quan in the backyard of the mansion. When he saw Xiong Quan, he was practicing his swordsmanship with all his might. He was sweating profusely. Xiong Quan. Duan Lingtian sighed in his heart when he saw how hardworking Xiong Quan was. Naturally, he knew why Xiong Quan was so hardworking. He wanted to become stronger so that he could stay by his side to help him and not be a burden. Young master. Soon after, Xiong Quan stopped practicing and stood up. He noticed Duan Lingtian. Xiong Quan, how much of the information contained in the word, sword, have you comprehended? Duan Lingtian asked with a smile. The word, sword, that Duan Lingtian mentioned was, naturally, a carving left behind by a guy who called himself the Sword Saint in the depths of the mountain where Xiong Quan's hometown was located in the Azure Forest Imperial Kingdom. The word, sword, contained a shocking amount of sword Dao comprehension. According to Duan Lingtian's estimation, even if he only comprehended 1% of the sword Dao comprehension contained in the word, sword, he would be able to do whatever he wanted on the Cloud Continent. He had discovered this not too long ago. Not too long ago, he had a further comprehension of the word, sword, stored in his mind and raised his sword concept to the 8th level advanced sword concept in one fell swoop. Although he did not have any improvements in other aspects, he had an additional strength of 300 ancient horned dragons due to the elevation of his sword concept. With the help of the quasi-royal grade spirit sword, he could wield the strength of 3,800 ancient horned dragons with his full strength. This was under the condition that he did not rely on the earth energy with his earth concept. It was precisely because of this that he was able to kill Lu Zhao, the Lu clan's elder who was at the 8th level void transformation stage. It was effortless from the beginning until the end. Young master, I'm slow-witted. I haven't made any progress. Xiong Quan shrugged and smiled wryly. Don't worry. A lot of things still depend on luck. Who knows, maybe you'll have a flash of inspiration in your mind, and you'll be able to comprehend them naturally. Duan Lingtian comforted him. However, looking at Xiong Quan's dejected expression, it was obvious his consolation was useless. Duan Lingtian. Right at this moment, a loud and familiar voice sounded, breaking the slightly silent atmosphere. Lu Bai. The person who came was the Lu clan's second young master, Lu Bai. Duan Lingtian did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Lu Bai, I want to see the clan leader. I've already told the patriarch about the soul-fixing root and the soul-stabilizing grass that you told me a few days ago. You should be able to know the result when you meet the patriarch with me this time. Lu Bai knew the reason why Duan Lingtian wanted to see the clan leader of Lu clan, so he said bluntly, the two treasures you mentioned sound like medicinal herbs. Our Lu clan has countless rare medicinal herbs. Who knows, we might have what you're looking for. I hope so. Duan Lingtian nodded and then looked at Xiong Quan. Xiong Quan, do you want to come with me? Young master, I'll pass. I want to cultivate for a while more. Besides, I can help take care of Miss Tian Wu if I stay. Xiong Quan said. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded and followed Lu Bai to see Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan, on his own. The mansion where Lu Rui lived was not far away from Duan Lingtian's mansion. Even Lu Bai's mansion was not far away. The area to the east of our Lu clan's mansion is where the clan's high-ranking officials and direct descendants live. The most magnificent mansion in front is where the clan leader lives. Lu Bai explained as he pointed to the front. Upon hearing this, Duan Lingtian looked over. In the distance, an estate stood there. It was grand and tall, and it stood out amongst the surrounding estates, causing it to be especially conspicuous. After walking for a while, Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow. He could clearly feel a gaze locked on him from afar. When he looked over, he saw a middle-aged young man walking toward him and Lu Bai. There was an old man following behind the young man. Humph! At this moment, Duan Lingtian heard Lu Bai snort. It was obvious he was targeting the newcomer. Lu Bai, aren't you going to greet your big brother when you see him? At this moment, the gray-clad young man arrived in front of Duan Lingtian and Lu Bai. His gaze had already shifted from Duan Lingtian to Lu Bai. Do I know you that well? Lu Bai glanced at the gray-clad young man coldly and said disdainfully. Lu Bai, is there a misunderstanding between us? The gray-clad young man still had a smile on his face even though Lu Bai did not treat him nicely. Chapter 1076. All of a sudden, Duan Lingtian seemed to have recalled something, and he raised an eyebrow. Big brother? This gray-clad young man addressed himself as Big Brother in front of Lu Bai. Lu Song. Soon after, Duan Lingtian reacted and guessed the gray-clad young man's identity. In the Lu clan, the only person who could address himself as Big Brother in front of Lu Bai was the Lu clan's first young master, Lu Song. He was also Lu Bai's sworn enemy and the stumbling block for Lu Bai to become the next clan leader of Lu clan. That was not all. The Lu clan's third young master, Lu Huai, whom I killed earlier. I heard that he was Lu Song's twin brother. Twin brother? He was Lu Huai's biological brother. At this moment, Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Song with a hint of vigilance. You must be Elder Duan, right? Lu Song was not angry when he saw Lu Bai ignoring him. He quickly changed his target and looked at Duan Lingtian with a bright smile on his face. However, the bright smile on Lu Song's face was extremely dazzling in Duan Lingtian's eyes. This Lu Song. He doesn't have a good relationship with his twin brother, Lu Bai. Duan Lingtian ignored Lu Song and asked Lu Bai through voice transmission. Their parents died when they were young, so they supported each other. Naturally, they had a good relationship. To Lu Huai, apart from being an elder brother, Lu Song also played the role of a father. Lu Bai replied through voice transmission. Duan Lingtian instantly felt a chill in his heart. He did not believe that Lu Song did not know he killed Lu Huai. Even so, Lu Song was still smiling in front of him. This made him feel a chill down his spine. This Lu Song is an extremely dangerous person. Duan Lingtian was almost certain about this. It was not something an ordinary person could do to act as if nothing had happened in front of the person who killed his brother. Anyone who could do that would be a scheming person. If Lu Song had wanted to kill him, perhaps he would not have taken him seriously. However, Lu Song's behavior made him fearful from the bottom of his heart. An enemy in the open was not scary. An enemy in the dark was the most terrifying. And who are you? Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Song and asked despite knowing the answer. I'm Lu Song. The smile on Lu Song's face remained unchanged as he politely responded to Duan Lingtian. Lu Song. The young master of the Lu family. Duan Lingtian pretended to be surprised. Yes. Lu Song nodded and continued to say, however, even though I'm the great young master of Lu clan, I'm nothing in front of you, Elder Duan. Elder Duan, you're a grade 1 alchemist. Even the clan leader and the 3 guardian elders have to be respectful to you. As he spoke, Lu Song's face was filled with humility. Duan Lingtian did not pay much attention to Lu Song's flattery. He looked deeply at Lu Song and asked with a smile, I heard. Lu Huai, the Lu clan's 3rd young master, is your biological brother. As soon as he finished speaking, Duan Lingtian narrowed his eyes and locked onto Lu Song. His sharp gaze seemed to be able to see through everything. At the same time, his mental power also extended out. Yes. Lu Song nodded. The smile on his face grew wider. He was not angry because Duan Lingtian mentioned Lu Huai. Do you know that I killed him? Duan Lingtian asked again. When Duan Lingtian asked this question, he was shocked in his heart. This was because he realized that when he mentioned Lu Huai, no matter if it was his eyes or his mental power, he did not notice any fluctuation in Lu Song's emotions. Even if it was just a tiny bit. What did this mean? Either Lu Song did not care about the life and death of his biological brother, Lu Huai. Either that, or Lu Song had perfectly hidden his emotions. If it was the former, then so be it. However, if it was the latter, then Lu Song was just too terrifying. Through the voice transmission that he asked Lu Song earlier, he could conclude that it was impossible for it to be the former. In that case, it could only be the latter. This caused a chill to rise in his heart. Currently, in his eyes, Lu Song was like a poisonous snake that could easily blend into its surroundings and hide perfectly. Such a poisonous snake was undoubtedly extremely dangerous and impossible to guard against. Once it went berserk, it would definitely kill without leaving a trace. Huh? Suddenly, Duan Lingtian felt the mental power that he extended out tremble. Only then did he notice. Just as his words left his mouth, there was an obvious fluctuation in Lu Song's emotions. The fluctuation in Lu Song's emotions was extremely faint and disappeared in a flash. However, his sharp mental power could still clearly sense it. The fluctuation in his emotions contained a bloodthirsty killing intent. I know. However, I still have to thank Elder Duan for cleaning up the house for my clan. With Lu Huai's temper, he'll get into trouble sooner or later. It's his good fortune that he died in your hands. Lu Song nodded. There was still a smile on his face. However, when his smile entered Duan Lingtian's eyes, it made Duan Lingtian's hair stand on end. It was also his mental power that noticed the fluctuation in Lu Song's emotions. Otherwise, he might have been deceived by Lu Song just by looking at it with his naked eyes. Then, I guess I've unintentionally planted a willow and the willow turns into a shade. However, you don't have to thank me. It's just a small matter. Duan Lingtian glanced at Lu Song nonchalantly and said calmly. Boy, you're courting death. At this moment, a cold gleam flashed in the eyes of the old man behind Lu Song. His aura instantly locked onto Duan Lingtian. Subsequently, he took a step forward, intending to attack Duan Lingtian. Whoosh! However, before the old man could make a move, he was stopped by Lu Song. Elder Duan, I'm really sorry. Elder Guan and Lu Huai are very close. I hope Elder Duan can forgive him if he offended you in any way. Lu Song said apologetically to Duan Lingtian. When Duan Lingtian heard this, he did not look at Lu Song. Instead, his eyes were fixed on the old man behind Lu Song. The old man had white hair and eyebrows, and he was glaring at him with hatred. At that moment, Duan Lingtian seemed to have noticed something. A thoughtful expression appeared on his face. How interesting. Duan Lingtian looked at the old man deeply before he shifted his gaze away. He did not bother with Lu Song anymore. After calling out to Lu Bai, he left with Lu Bai. Only Lu Song and the old man behind him were left standing on the spot. They looked at Duan Lingtian and Lu Bai's silhouettes as they left. "Young master, you shouldn't have stopped me. I was very confident that I could kill him just now to avenge little young master," the old man said in a deep voice as he stared at the purple silhouette in the distance. His face was filled with hatred. Then, at this moment, the smile on Lu Song's face had disappeared. It was replaced with indifference. Then, when the old man heard this, he did not know how to reply. "You won't be able to live if you kill him. Even if you manage to escape, you're destined to be a fugitive. At that time, where are you going to put me? Or do you want me to be a fugitive with you?" Lu Song enunciated each word clearly, leaving the old man speechless. That was right. He had killed Duan Lingtian. Faced with the enraged higher-ups of the Lu clan, he could escape to the ends of the earth. However, the young master would be dragged down by him. After all, his every move represented his young master, Lu Song. If you kill him, you can either die or run. As for me, even if I continue to stay in the Lu clan, I won't be able to become the patriarch of the Lu clan. The Lu clan will not allow someone who doesn't care about the clan's interests to be the patriarch. You should be very clear about this, Lu Song said in a deep voice. If he allowed the old man to kill Duan Lingtian, even if the Lu clan did not punish him, the higher-ups of the Lu clan would undoubtedly think that he did not care about the clan's interests at all. Duan Lingtian was a grade 1 alchemist and the Lu clan's first honorary elder. If he was killed, the Lu clan's interests would be greatly affected. Young master, what about little young master's revenge? Are we not going to avenge it? The old man said with grief and indignation. Not avenge it? How is that possible? He's my younger brother. He's my younger brother whom I watched grow up. Lu Song's eyes gleamed coldly. However, he concealed it in just a blink of an eye. His slightly ferocious expression returned to its usual calmness. However, we can't be rash about this. We need to think about it carefully. The old man's eyes brightened when he heard this, and he replied respectfully. On the other hand, Duan Lingtian and Lu Bai had also arrived near the mansion of the Lu clan's patriarch, Lu Rui. They would arrive at the mansion in a dozen breaths' time. Duan Lingtian, you have to be careful of Lu Song. That Lu Song is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He says one thing in the open, and another in the dark. You killed his younger brother, there's no way he would be so magnanimous. He won't let this go so easily. Lu Bai looked at Duan Lingtian and reminded him solemnly. Duan Lingtian nodded. He had already noticed this without Lu Bai's reminder. Lu Bai, the old man behind Lu Song. Do you know anything about him? Soon after, Duan Lingtian recalled the old man who was following behind Lu Song and wanted to attack him. I only know that the old man's surname is Guan, and people call him Elder Guan. As for his background, I heard he was a servant of Lu Song's grandfather when he was young. Due to his good innate talent, he became a collateral disciple of our Lu clan. Later on, after Lu Song's grandfather died, he followed Lu Song's father. After Lu Song's parents died, he followed Lu Song and Lu Huai and took care of them. It's said that the old man's strength has already entered the 9th level void transformation. He's not far from the peak of the void. His strength is much stronger than many of the elders in our Lu clan. Lu Bai told him everything he knew. 9th level void transformation. Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow when he heard Lu Bai's words. He was shocked. That old man hid his strength really well. He's obviously a martial monarch powerhouse, but he actually told the public that he's only at the 9th level void transformation. Earlier, when the old man's aura had locked onto him and was about to attack him, he immediately extended his spiritual energy. He attempted to probe the old man's cultivation base by extending his spiritual energy. However, when his spiritual energy approached the old man, it seemed to have melted into a ball of cotton and disappeared without a trace. At that time, he knew. Chapter 1077. However, the old man was only at the first-level martial monarch stage at most. Duan Lingtian could roughly deduce this through the memories of the reincarnation Emperor Wu from his 2 lives. What's wrong? Is there something wrong? Lu Bai asked curiously when he saw Duan Lingtian suddenly stopping in his tracks. He seemed to be in a daze. Nothing. Duan Lingtian returned to his senses when he heard this and shook his head. He decided not to tell Lu Bai about his discovery. If Lu Bai knew there was a martial monarch following Lu Song all the time, he would definitely be in a bad mood. After all, if he wanted to become the next clan leader of Lu clan, he would have to get rid of Lu Song, this stepping stone. If he knew there was a martial monarch protecting Lu Song, he might feel hopeless. Although Lu Bai was puzzled when he saw Duan Lingtian seemed to have a lot on his mind, he did not continue to ask. He could tell Duan Lingtian did not want to say much. Therefore, he did not intend to force Duan Lingtian to say anything. Soon after, Duan Lingtian entered the grand and tall mansion under Lu Bai's lead and entered the main hall in the middle of the mansion. There was already someone waiting in the main hall. It was the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. Clan leader. Duan Lingtian greeted Lu Rui with a smile when he saw him. He did not bow like Lu Bai did. If it was someone else, Lu Rui would definitely be displeased. However, this person was Duan Lingtian. Not only did he feel it was nothing, but he even responded with a smile. Elder Duan. Elder Duan, I've read some ancient books about the 2 medicinal herbs that you're looking for, and I've finally found some records about them. I've been searching in the Lu clan's treasure vault for the past 2 days, and I've finally found a few medicinal herbs with similar characteristics. I'm just not sure if they're the ones you're looking for. Lu Rui went straight to the point. A few? Hearing Lu Rui's words, Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up. He asked eagerly, Master, can you take out those medicinal herbs for me to identify? Duan Lingtian's words were mixed with a bit of excitement. In his opinion, since there were several kinds of medicinal herbs for him to choose from, perhaps there would be something he wanted among them. Of course. Lu Rui raised his hand and took out 7 kinds of herbs. 3 of them were root-shaped medicinal herbs. They looked similar to ginseng, but there were many differences. As for the other 4 herbs, they were all leaf-shaped herbs. Elder Duan, look. None of them are. Just as Lu Rui was about to pass the 7 kinds of medicinal herbs to Duan Lingtian, he raised his head and looked at Duan Lingtian. However, he saw Duan Lingtian's disappointed face as he let out a sigh. For a moment, he vaguely realized something. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded and said with a wry smile on his face, the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing grass that I want are not among these medicinal herbs. However, no matter what, thank you for helping me, Master. Duan Lingtian had a grateful expression on his face when he reached the end of his sentence. You're too kind, Elder Duan, Lu Rui said. My understanding of the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing grass is limited to the rough written records in the ancient books. Even if I saw them, I might not be able to recognize them. In our Lu clan's treasure vault, there are some medicinal herbs that fit the description of these 2 heaven and earth treasures. However, I didn't take them out together. Why don't you come with me and take a look yourself, Elder Duan? Lu Rui suggested as he reached the end of his sentence. Then, I'll thank the patriarch first. Duan Lingtian had undoubtedly agreed to go with Lu Rui to the Lu clan's treasure vault to take a look at the medicinal herbs and see if there was anything that he wanted. Subsequently, Duan Lingtian followed Lu Rui and left the mansion. As for Lu Bai, he returned to his own mansion and did not follow them. The Lu clan's treasure vault was located in the north of the Lu clan's mansion. It was surrounded by 3 layers of protection. It was filled with inscription formations, and some of them were even powerful killing formations. The Lu clan's treasure vault was a palace surrounded by many inscription formations. There was only one entrance, and it was personally guarded by an old man. Elder Duan, Master. The old man was slightly surprised when he saw Duan Lingtian and Lu Rui appearing together. However, he still greeted them warmly. Elder Ji. Duan Lingtian responded with a smile on his face. He was familiar with the old man in front of him. It was Lu Ji, one of the Lu clan's 3 guardian elders whom he had met a few days ago. He was a powerful martial monarch powerhouse. Elder Ji, I'll bring Elder Duan in to look for some medicinal herbs, Lu Rui said to Elder Ji. Lu Ji nodded. With a lift of his hand, a gentle energy extended out and activated an inscription formation at the entrance of the Lu clan's treasure vault. Creak. At the same time, the treasure vault's door opened by itself. Duan Lingtian and Lu Rui walked into the treasure vault together. What entered their eyes was a 7-colored brilliance. It was a pile of jewelry that was as big as a mountain in front of them. Under the illumination of the light brought in by Duan Lingtian and Lu Rui, they emitted a gorgeous light. Some of the huge pearls that were still shining brightly after the light disappeared illuminated the entire treasure vault. It was even more eye-catching. Night luminescent pearls. Duan Lingtian raised his brow. Elder Duan, if you're interested in these things, feel free to take them. As though Lu Rui saw Duan Lingtian's eyes were attracted by the pile of jewelry, he said straightforwardly. To a clan like the Northern Mountains Lu clan, the jewelry that was piled up like mountains were just ordinary decorations. They had no value at all. I'm just looking. Duan Lingtian shook his head, indicating that he was not interested in those things. Master, where are the herbs? After looking around, Duan Lingtian did not see any herbs at all. At that moment, he could not help but look at Lu Rui in confusion and asked curiously. The herbs are in there. Lu Rui led the way in front as he spoke. Apart from being one of the 2 most powerful clans in the northern mountain land, the Lu clan was also an alchemist clan. To an alchemist, apart from the cauldron, the most precious thing was none other than the herbs required to refine pills. Therefore, the herbs were the most precious treasure to the Lu clan. Especially those rare and precious medicinal herbs. Along the way, Duan Lingtian had passed by a few other places, from the place where the jewelry was stored to the place where the herbs were stored. Those few places stored some ancient books, concept fragments, spirit weapons, and other treasures. It's here. As Lu Rui activated the mechanism, a stone door rose up in front of them. In the next second, Duan Lingtian smelled a rich medicinal fragrance coming from inside. It quickly entered his nostrils. At that moment, he felt light all over as though he had consumed some kind of spirit pill. He only returned to his senses after a while. Elder Duan, please. Lu Rui gestured for Duan Lingtian to enter the spacious side hall behind the stone door. There were many herbs stored in the side hall. One could not take in all of them at a glance. Spirit heart grass, dancing butterfly flower, traceless stem. There are so many rare herbs. Soon, Duan Lingtian was attracted by the many herbs in the side hall. He lost his composure and exclaimed softly. Although these herbs were not as good as the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing grass that he desperately wanted, they were still rare herbs. Lu Rui stood at the side. He was not surprised by Duan Lingtian's loss of composure. He still remembered. When he first came here, he was much older than Elder Duan. However, his composure was not as good as Elder Duan's. At that time, he could not move his feet for a long time when he saw the pile of rare herbs. In the end, it was the former clan leader who slapped him that woke him up. Clan leader, where are the herbs that you mentioned? Duan Lingtian asked as he looked at Lu Rui. There were so many herbs here. It would take him at least a few days to search through all of them. He had a headache when he thought of this. He could not help but ask Lu Rui. Now, he could only hope that Lu Rui would bring the herbs to the side for him to choose from. I've asked someone to separate the herbs and put them over there. Lu Rui pointed to a corner of the side hall and said. Duan Lingtian was relieved when he heard this. He walked to the corner of the side hall and pulled the dustproof cloth that covered the pile of herbs. After the dustproof cloth was pulled away, Duan Lingtian's eyes opened up. There were dozens of different herbs. Duan Lingtian looked around. The herbs that he saw were more or less similar to the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing grass that he was looking for. Thank you for your effort, clan leader. After taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian turned to look at Lu Rui and said solemnly. The neat pile of herbs in front of him was obviously collected recently. It was enough to show Lu Rui's effort. It made Duan Lingtian feel warm from the bottom of his heart. Although he was a grade 1 alchemist, he had not refined a single pill for the Lu clan since he joined the Lu clan a few days ago. It could be said that he had not contributed anything to the Lu clan. Under such circumstances, Lu Rui's contribution on behalf of the Lu clan made him feel grateful from the bottom of his heart. I hope Elder Duan can find what you're looking for. Lu Rui said with a smile. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded and looked at the pile of herbs in front of him again. Soon, his eyes were fixed on one of the herbs. He could not move his eyes away. At the same time, the atmosphere in the side hall became heavy. Hiss. Hiss. All that could be heard was Duan Lingtian's heavy breathing. Lu Rui could not help but feel curious when he heard Duan Lingtian's heavy breathing. He took a step forward and arrived next to Duan Lingtian like a gust of wind. He followed Duan Lingtian's gaze and looked over. At the same time, a root-shaped herb appeared before his eyes. All of the roots of this root-shaped medicinal herb were curled together and twisted into a ball. It looked extremely strange. This can't be the soul-fixing root, right? Lu Rui asked in shock. The root-shaped herb before his eyes was very different from the description of the soul-fixing root that he had read in the ancient books. The books did not mention that the roots of the soul-fixing root would curl up. Chapter 1078. It's not an ordinary soul-fixing root. A hint of confusion could be seen in Lu Rui's eyes when he saw Duan Lingtian had woken up from his stupor. He did not know what Duan Lingtian meant at all. Yes. Duan Lingtian, who was awakened by Lu Rui, had an excited expression on his face. An ordinary soul-fixing root has a straight root. However, once it has lived for more than 1,000 years, its root will begin to curl up. The longer it lives in this world, the more its root will curl up. With a raise of his hand, Duan Lingtian grabbed the soul-fixing root that was completely curled up in his hand. Excitement could be seen in his eyes. If that's the case, doesn't this mean that this soul-fixing root has existed for a very long time? Lu Rui's eyes lit up when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Elder Duan, can you deduce how long it has lived in this world? Judging from the degree to which its roots have shrunk, it has lived in this world for at least 5,000 years. This soul-fixing root can be called a coiling dragon root. Duan Lingtian said as he studied the soul-fixing root in his hand. Coiling dragon root. Lu Rui's eyes widened when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. Naturally, he had heard of the coiling dragon root before. The coiling dragon root was not just a name for a root-shaped medicinal herb. Any rare root-shaped medicinal herb that had lived for more than 5,000 years could be called a coiling dragon root. I can't believe this soul-fixing root has transformed into a coiling dragon root. No wonder I missed it and didn't bring it away. Lu Rui exclaimed, it's a good thing Elder Duan is so knowledgeable that you recognized it with just a glance. Otherwise, even if it continued to stay in our Lu clan's treasure vault, I'm afraid it would only collect dust in the end. Congratulations, Elder Duan. After Lu Rui returned to his senses, he smiled and congratulated Duan Lingtian. Thank you, clan leader. Duan Lingtian quickly thanked him and put the soul-fixing root away in his spatial ring as though he had just obtained a treasure. Even now, his surging emotions were still unable to calm down for a long time. No matter if it was the soul-fixing root or the soul-stabilizing grass, they were both extremely rare treasures of heaven and earth in the entire Cloud continent. Many people might not be able to see them in their entire lifetime. Before this, Duan Lingtian would never have thought he would be able to obtain the soul-fixing root from the Lu clan. Although he had followed Lu Rui to the Lu clan's treasure vault, he had the intention of trying his luck here as a last resort. He never thought that he would be able to find the soul-fixing root or the soul-stabilizing grass here. Perhaps, this is what they mean by unintentionally planting a willow and growing a shade. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. With this soul-fixing root, I can concoct a medicinal liquid for Tian Wu to consume and heal a part of her soul. I only hope that Tian Wu can wake up after the part of her soul is healed. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself. In the end, his face was filled with apprehension. Elder Duan, continue looking. See if you can find the soul-stabilizing grass as well. Lu Rui said with a smile. Duan Lingtian nodded and began to look at the dozens of medicinal herbs in front of him. In the end, he found nothing. There's no soul-stabilizing grass here. Although there was no soul-stabilizing grass, Duan Lingtian was very surprised to be able to obtain the soul-fixing root. Clan leader, I'd like to return first. Duan Lingtian was eager to return. He only wanted to concoct the medicinal liquid for Feng Tianwu as soon as possible. He did not want to stay here for even a second longer. All right. As the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui was also a shrewd person. Naturally, he could hear the urgency in Duan Lingtian's voice. Both of them left the side hall where the medicinal herbs were stored and walked out. They would return to where they came from. Clan leader, if the clan needs grade 1 pills, you can give me a list. As long as the medicinal herbs are here, I can refine the grade 1 pills for the clan. Duan Lingtian said to Lu Rui solemnly. Putting aside the fact that he still needed to rely on the Lu clan in the future, he now owed the Lu clan a huge favor. Perhaps Lu Rui did not know the true value of the soul-fixing root, but he knew it very well. It was a treasure of heaven and earth that could repair one's soul. It was not something that ordinary rare medicinal herbs could compare to. Lu Rui's eyes lit up when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. All right. All right. I'll give you a list later and give you the medicinal herbs, Elder Duan. Grade 1 pills. Although the Lu clan had one as well, it was refined by the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. Moreover, they had to pay a huge sum of money. That was not all. The Alchemist Guild's main guild had set a limit every time he refined grade 1 pills for the Lu clan. This made them feel helpless. They could not help but wonder why the clan could not produce another grade 1 alchemist. If the Lu clan could produce a grade 1 alchemist, why would they need to ask the Alchemist Guild's main guild for help? The Lu clan had only produced a grade 1 alchemist close to 1,000 years ago. Due to this reason, Duan Lingtian's appearance had given the Lu clan hope. This meant that the Lu clan would no longer have to look for other people if they wanted grade 1 pills in the future. This was one of the reasons why the Lu clan's people, including the clan leader Lu Rui, treated Duan Lingtian with respect when he revealed his identity as a grade 1 alchemist and expressed his intention to join the Lu clan. The Lu clan urgently needed a grade 1 alchemist to carry the golden name of the alchemist clan. Soon after, Duan Lingtian and Lu Rui left the Lu clan's treasure vault and returned to the east side of the Lu clan's mansion. Elder Duan, you don't have to worry about the soul-fixing herb. I'll get someone to spread the news and offer a reward for the soul-fixing herb. Before they parted ways, Lu Rui looked at Duan Lingtian and said, however, before that, please draw a detailed picture of the soul-fixing herb for me. My understanding of the soul-fixing herb is limited to the rough records in the ancient books. I'm afraid other people might not be able to recognize the soul-fixing herb even if they see it. Lu Rui told him his plan. Reward? Upon hearing Lu Rui's words, Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up immediately. He took the pen and paper from Lu Rui and quickly drew the soul-fixing herb that he remembered the reincarnation Emperor Wu had seen a few times. He did not let go of any detail. After spending an entire 15 minutes, Duan Ling Tian finally drew a complete soul-stabilizing grass. Good drawing. Lu Rui's eyes gleamed when he saw the lifelike herb on the drawing that Duan Ling Tian handed to him. He smiled and said, "We'll use this drawing as a blueprint and make tens of thousands of copies. We'll be able to mobilize the entire northern desert and even half of the people in the southern outer land to search for the soul-fixing herb." Clan leader, what kind of reward are you going to use? Duan Ling Tian asked. Upon hearing Duan Ling Tian's words, Lu Rui muttered to himself, "I'll have to think about the reward carefully. An ordinary reward isn't enough to mobilize all the martial artists who know about this matter to help search for the soul-fixing herb. Clan leader, I have a suggestion." A thought popped up in Duan Ling Tian's mind out of nowhere. "Please speak, Elder Duan." Lu Rui looked at Duan Ling Tian. "How about this? The Lu clan has promised that the person who finds the soul-stabilizing grass will be rewarded with a Grade 1 spirit weapon and 10 Grade 1 life recovery pills." Duan Ling Tian said bluntly. A Grade 1 spirit weapon. 10 Grade 1 life recovery pills. The moment Duan Ling Tian's words left his mouth, Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan, was taken aback. Regardless of whether it was a Grade 1 spirit weapon or a Grade 1 life recovery pill, they were extremely precious treasures even in the inner land, let alone in the outer land. If they appeared in the outer land, it was enough to make people fight over them. Elder Duan, Grade 1 life recovery pills are still manageable. Our Lu clan still has more than 10 of them in stock. Even if we don't have enough, you can still refine them. Lu Rui took a deep breath to calm himself down before he continued. However, as for Grade 1 spirit weapons, even our Lu clan only has 4 of them. 3 of them are in the hands of the 3 guardian elders, and 1 of them is in my hands. These 4 Grade 1 spirit weapons were passed down from our Lu clan's ancestors. Lu Rui was interrupted as soon as he reached this part of his sentence. Clan leader, I think you've misunderstood. Duan Ling Tian interrupted Lu Rui. He knew Lu Rui had misunderstood him. Misunderstood? Lu Rui was stunned. Clan leader, I didn't intend to ask the clan for the reward that I suggested earlier. I'm already very grateful that the clan is willing to announce the reward through its extensive network. Duan Ling Tian nodded before he continued to say, as for the Grade 1 spirit weapon and the 10 Grade 1 life recovery pills, I'll personally pay for them. Lu Rui sighed in relief when he heard this. I forgot that since you're a Grade 1 alchemist, it's not difficult for you to obtain a Grade 1 spirit weapon, Elder Duan. A Grade 1 alchemist could refine Grade 1 pills as long as they had sufficient medicinal herbs. A certain amount of Grade 1 pills could be exchanged for a Grade 1 spirit weapon refined by a Grade 1 weapon craftsman. Naturally, this was just Lu Rui's idea. If Lu Rui knew that the purple-clad young man standing before him was not only a Grade 1 alchemist, but also a Grade 1 weapon craftsman, one could only imagine how he would react. Clan leader, I'll have to trouble you with this. Duan Ling Tian said solemnly. Don't worry, Elder Duan. Lu Rui nodded. I'll definitely handle this properly for you. With the reward that you promised, I believe even a martial monarch would be tempted to help you look for the soul-stabilizing herb personally. That's exactly what I want. Duan Ling Tian smiled. After parting ways with Lu Rui, Duan Ling Tian's body flashed like an arrow that was released from a bow, heading straight to the mansion that he was staying in. Tian Wu, elder brother Duan has already found the soul-stabilizing root. With the 5,000-year medicinal efficacy of the soul-stabilizing root, it's enough to heal half of your soul injury. Chapter 1079. Whoosh! The door was tightly shut, and in the extremely quiet room, a soft sound came out of nowhere. A purple-clad young man stood in front of the bed. A flame appeared in his palm out of thin air. It was a flame that had solidified. The flame was different from an ordinary flame. This was because the flame was completely purple. Not only that, but around the purple flames, there was also a faint layer of golden edges. Purple gold pill fire. It was also a grade 1 pill fire. The purple-clad young man was none other than Duan Lingtian, who had returned after parting with Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan. Duan Lingtian returned to his room immediately after he returned. After he returned to his room, he carried Feng Tianwu, who was sleeping in the ice coffin, and placed her on the bed. Then, he condensed a grade 1 pill fire. A soul-fixing root that has survived for 5,000 years can only be smelted by a pill fire of the first grade or above. Duan Lingtian's lips suddenly moved as he muttered to himself. If there was a second person who was sober and heard Duan Lingtian's words, he would definitely be baffled. Isn't a grade 1 pill fire the highest grade pill fire? How can there be a grade 1 pill fire or above? That person would definitely ask such a question. Naturally, that person did not know about the existence of quasi-royal grade alchemists and royal grade alchemists. Otherwise, he would not have said that. Royal grade alchemists were the real alchemists who stood at the peak of Cloud Continent. As he muttered to himself, Duan Lingtian casually took out a strange root-shaped medicinal herb. All the roots of the root-shaped medicinal herb were curled together. It looked extremely strange. It was the soul-fixing root. After a while, the soul-fixing root was led by Duan Lingtian to the top of the grade 1 pill fire and allowed the grade 1 pill fire to envelop it completely. After 15 minutes, there was still no change to the soul-fixing root. As expected of a soul-fixing root that has lived for 5,000 years. A grade 1 pill fire without the help of the cauldron is not enough to smelt it in 15 minutes. Duan Lingtian could not help but exclaim. Then, Duan Lingtian took out the medicine cauldron and threw the soul-fixing root inside. With the help of the cauldron, Duan Lingtian quickly smelted the soul-fixing root and added some common herbs to successfully refine the medicinal liquid he needed. It wasn't that he didn't want to concoct a condensed pill, but the soul-fixing root after being smelted couldn't be condensed into a pill, so he could only use it to concoct medicinal liquid. Pa! Duan Lingtian lifted his hand and slapped his palm on the cauldron. The grade 1 pill fire surrounded the cauldron's mouth and formed a faint barrier. Whoosh! Subsequently, a puddle of medicinal liquid that was as black as ink shot out like an arrow and pierced through the barrier formed by the grade 1 pill fire before stopping in midair. An invisible force shot out from Duan Lingtian's hand and guided the pool of medicinal liquid to roll in the air. After putting away the medicine cauldron, Duan Lingtian guided the medicinal liquid to the front of the bed. He used his other hand to help Feng Tianwu up from the bed so that she was half lying on the bed. At the same time, his hand slowly opened Feng Tianwu's slightly dry little mouth. Whoosh! At this moment, the medicinal liquid that Duan Lingtian guided arrived at Feng Tianwu's mouth. Drop by drop, it slowly seeped into her mouth and into her body. After a while, Duan Lingtian sent all the medicinal liquid into Feng Tianwu's body. Tianwu. After everything was done, Duan Lingtian sighed in relief. At the same time, he extended his spiritual energy to observe the direction of the medicinal liquid refined by the soul-fixing root. Duan Lingtian could clearly sense it with his spiritual energy. After the medicinal liquid seeped into Feng Tianwu's body, it went straight to her mind. After a while, it gathered in her mind and rushed to her damaged soul. Her soul was like a ball of flame that hung in the depths of her mind and flickered continuously. A corner of Feng Tianwu's soul was damaged. This was also the root cause of her unconsciousness. Whoosh! 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 Waves of medicinal effects gathered in Feng Tianwu's mind and swept out from all directions. In a short moment, they fused into her soul and gathered together. Feng Tianwu's soul was completely shrouded. She could only see the medicinal liquid rolling outside her soul. Logically speaking, if there's only the soul-fixing root, it's impossible for Tianwu's soul to fully recover. Even if it's a soul-fixing root that has lived in this world for 5,000 years, it's still impossible. Duan Lingtian was a little absent-minded. I wonder if Tian Wu will be able to wake up. If she wakes up, I'm afraid there'll be some negative effects from the damage to her soul. Duan Lingtian's heart jolted as he prepared for the worst. I hope the clan leader can really reward me with the soul-fixing herb. In that case, Tian Wu's soul will be completely healed. When he thought of this, Duan Lingtian's face was filled with anticipation. Time passed by quietly. Feng Tianwu's soul was still enveloped by the rolling medicinal liquid. It made it difficult for Duan Lingtian's spiritual energy to get close to her. He could only watch from afar. However, Duan Lingtian waited silently by the bed, waiting for the final result. He knew there would be two possible outcomes when the medicinal liquid completely seeped into Feng Tianwu's soul. One of the outcomes was none other than Feng Tianwu continuing to be unconscious, and she would only be able to wake up once she consumed the medicinal liquid refined from the soul-stabilizing grass. The other outcome was that Feng Tianwu would wake up, but her soul would still be in a damaged state. It would inevitably have some negative effects on her. Night gradually fell. It was so dark that one could not even see one's own fingers. However, it did not affect Duan Lingtian at all. The medicinal liquid was still rolling in her soul. Duan Lingtian's extended spiritual energy seemed to be constantly reporting the situation of Feng Tianwu's soul in the depths of her mind to him. He sat by the bed and waited patiently. At some point, the light of dawn shrouded the earth, and the entire room was bright again. It's done. At this moment, Duan Lingtian noticed that the medicinal liquid refined from the soul-fixing herb had completely seeped into Feng Tianwu's soul and healed part of the damage to Feng Tianwu's soul. Tian Wu. After withdrawing his spiritual energy, Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Tianwu anxiously. At the same time, he reached out and held her hand. Due to the stimulation of the cold air from lying in the ice coffin, Feng Tianwu's hand was very hot. Even though she had been out of the ice coffin for an entire day, her hand was still so hot. However, Duan Lingtian did not care about this. His eyes were firmly fixed on Feng Tianwu's beautiful face. He only wanted to know if Feng Tianwu, whose soul had been partially healed, would wake up because of this. Time passed by quietly. Soon, half an hour had passed. Feng Tianwu still did not show any signs of waking up. Sigh. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian could not help but sigh. At the same time, he withdrew his gaze and muttered, "It seems like I'll have to wait until I find the soul-fixing herb to wake Tian Wu up." At this moment, a soft sound pierced Duan Lingtian's ears. It was as if thunder had pierced his ears. It caused his pupils to shrink, and he stood up abruptly. His eyes swept out at lightning speed and once again locked onto the red-clad lady on the bed, Feng Tianwu. He saw Feng Tianwu's small mouth moving slightly. Her beautiful face also showed signs of movement. Subsequently, her pair of beautiful eyes that were like water opened, and the first thing she saw was Duan Lingtian, who was looking at her. However, there were no unusual emotions in her eyes at all. Unfamiliar. When Feng Tianwu looked at Duan Lingtian, her eyes were extremely unfamiliar. It was as if she had never known Duan Lingtian. This gaze that was filled with unfamiliarity pierced Duan Lingtian to the point he felt a wave of heartache. It seems like what I'm most worried about has happened. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself. Whoosh! Before Duan Lingtian could react, a red light flashed before his eyes. In the next moment, he realized that Feng Tianwu had left the bed and disappeared before his eyes. At the same time, he clearly felt a scorching aura behind him. Tian Wu. Duan Lingtian turned around and looked at Feng Tianwu, who was floating in the air. Her red clothes were fluttering, and waves of scorching flames rose around her body. He realized that Feng Tianwu's gaze still did not contain any emotion. Moreover, it was extremely unfamiliar. It was as if she was looking at a stranger. Duan Lingtian took a deep breath and suppressed his restless emotions. He asked gently, Tian Wu, don't you recognize me? I'm elder brother Duan. Elder brother Duan. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's words, Feng Tianwu, who was standing in the air, frowned. She seemed to be thinking about something. The red clothes on her body fluttered along with the scorching flames rolling around her body, making her look like a fire spirit, a lost fire spirit. Yes, I'm elder brother Duan. Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian saw that Tianwu seemed to be thinking. He immediately seized the opportunity and tried to awaken her memory. I don't know you. However, what he waited for was Feng Tianwu's cold shout. It wasn't just that, along with Feng Tianwu's cold shout, her peerlessly beautiful face seemed to be covered in a layer of frost, and even the flames that coiled around her body were unable to melt the frost. Whoosh! As Feng Tianwu raised her hand, a sword appeared in her hand. It was a 5-foot-long red soft sword that was as thin as a cicada's wing. It was the quasi-royal grade spiritual sword that Duan Lingtian had given her in the past. However, at this moment, she pointed the sword that Duan Lingtian had given her at Duan Lingtian and shouted, "Who are you?" "Young master." "Young master." At this moment, a series of hurried voices came from outside the door. It was Xiong Quan who had rushed over when he heard from the servant that there was an unusual movement in Duan Lingtian's room. However, he did not receive any response. "Tian Wu, I'm elder brother Duan. Have you forgotten? The sword in your hand was given to you by me not long ago. Have you forgotten all of this?" Even when Feng Tianwu pointed the sword at him, Duan Lingtian was not alarmed at all. He looked at Feng Tianwu and patiently tried to awaken Feng Tianwu's memory. "Elder brother Duan. You're the one who gave me this sword." Feng Tianwu muttered as she looked at Duan Lingtian and the sword in her hand. "Yes. Do you remember now?" Duan Lingtian nodded and looked at Feng Tianwu with anticipation. Chapter 1080. However, just as Duan Lingtian was looking at Feng Tianwu expectantly, a sudden change occurred. Whoosh! Feng Tianwu made her move. She actually stabbed her sword at him. It was extremely sudden and ferocious. At this moment, the flames on her body seemed to be filled with an extremely cold aura, causing Duan Lingtian to feel a chill in his heart. Feng Tianwu's speed was not considered fast in Duan Lingtian's eyes. However, he had no intention of dodging. He stood there quietly. His eyes were filled with tenderness as he stared at Feng Tianwu, who was stabbing her sword at him for no reason. At this moment, it was as though the only thing left in his world was the fiery red figure that was getting closer and closer. Even though the figure seemed to have transformed into a red giant beast in the blink of an eye and was about to devour him, his expression and gaze did not change at all. He was still as gentle as before. Whoosh! Feng Tianwu, whose face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost, swept her sword at Duan Lingtian's heart. It was as though she wanted to kill Duan Lingtian with one strike. However, her speed slowed down when she realized that Duan Lingtian did not move. However, she was too close to Duan Lingtian. Even though her movements were slow, the sword in her hand was already not far from Duan Lingtian's chest in an instant. Why didn't he dodge? Why do I feel a pain in my heart when I attack him? Feng Tianwu, who seemed to have transformed into a ball of flame and arrived in front of Duan Lingtian in an instant, felt her heart tremble for no reason. At the same time, she felt a wave of panic in her heart. In a flash, her eyes happened to catch a glimpse of the sword that was just inches away from Duan Lingtian's heart. She hurriedly moved her sword away, wanting to retrieve it. Unfortunately, she was still too slow. The strong inertia continued to carry her forward and sent the sword in her hand into the purple-clad young man's chest. Poof! Blood splattered everywhere, splattering on her body and her hand. Looking at the blood on her hand, she felt her heart ache. It hurts. She let go of the sword in her hand and clutched her chest. She was in a daze, as if she had lost something in that instant. Helplessness and panic almost caused her to stop breathing. Why would my heart ache? Do I really know him? Why is his gaze so gentle? What is my relationship with him? Why didn't he dodge? Why? Feng Tianwu's beautiful face was deathly pale. She lowered her head and muttered to herself in a daze. Bang! Until a loud sound rang out, causing her to regain her senses. Young master. After knocking open the door and seeing the scene in front of him, Xiong Quan's expression changed greatly. He hurriedly flew in and arrived in front of the swaying purple figure in an instant. Whoosh! With a raise of his hand, Xiong Quan pulled out the red soft sword from the chest of the purple-clothed young man and threw it on the ground. At the same time, he used his origin energy to help stop the bleeding. Fortunately, Xiong Quan heaved a sigh of relief when he realized that the sword had missed the heart and that the life of the purple-robed young man was not in danger. Cough! Duan Lingtian, who had been staring blankly at Feng Tianwu as though he had lost his soul and did not feel anything when Feng Tianwu's sword pierced his chest, finally moved after Xiong Quan pulled out the sword. He coughed and spat out a mouthful of blood. The blood stained the ground and formed a dazzling red rose. Young master. Who hurt you? Xiong Quan's face sank, and killing intent flashed in his eyes. At this moment, he seemed to have forgotten that Duan Lingtian was stronger than him. Someone who could hurt Duan Lingtian was not a reality that he could deal with. Soon, Xiong Quan obtained his answer. This answer made him dumbstruck. You. Why didn't you dodge? An emotionless voice sounded, causing Xiong Quan to shift his gaze to the woman in red who was not far away. Miss Tianwu, why you're awake? Xiong Quan's eyes widened in disbelief. Young master. Why you've found the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing herb for Miss Tianwu? This Lu clan is pretty good. They even have the two extremely rare treasures of heaven and earth that you mentioned in Cloud Continent. Xiong Quan seemed to have guessed something, and a smile appeared on his face. However, his smile quickly froze. This was because he noticed the bloodstain on Feng Tianwu's hand. His expression changed immediately. Miss Tianwu, why you're the one who stabbed young master? If it was someone else, he would have risked his life to avenge his young master even if he knew he was no match for them. However, this person was Feng Tianwu. She was his young master's woman and the future young mistress. Although he was furious, there was nothing he could do. Why should I dodge? Why you're really going to kill me? Duan Lingtian, whose face was pale due to the excessive blood loss, asked Feng Tianwu in return. Upon hearing this, Feng Tianwu fell silent. Looking at the man's pale face, she felt a sharp pain in her heart. It was as though her heart had been broken into two. She did not know why she felt that way. Could it be? I really knew him in the past. But why can't I remember anything? No matter how hard Feng Tianwu racked her brains, she could not recall anything about the man before her. However, she felt an inexplicable pain in her heart when the man before her was hurt. She had no choice but to believe that the man before her had a close relationship with her past self. At this moment, the enmity Feng Tianwu had towards Duan Lingtian vanished without a trace. Duan Lingtian heaved a sigh of relief when he realized this. A heartfelt smile crept up the corner of his mouth. He knew he was right not to dodge earlier. At the very least, he had broken through Tianwu's psychological barrier after she had temporarily lost her memory. This was the beginning of success. Tianwu no longer rejected him after she had lost her memory. Perhaps, she would be able to accept him completely soon. If he had dodged earlier, Feng Tianwu would definitely attack him even more crazily after she had lost her memory. Feng Tianwu would not reject him like she did now. Young master. What's going on between you and Miss Tianwu? Xiong Quan, who was standing at the side, was puzzled when he saw Duan Lingtian was still smiling even though he was injured. Xiong Quan, I only found the soul-fixing root in the Lu clan. I didn't find the soul-stabilizing grass. Although Tian Wu woke up after consuming the medicinal liquid refined from the soul-fixing root, she seemed to have lost her memory of me. Duan Ling Tian gave a simple explanation to Xiong Quan. Lost her memory? I see. When Xiong Quan heard Duan Ling Tian's words earlier, he felt like he was listening to a fairy tale. He only regained his senses after a while. At the same time, realization dawned on him. This would explain why Miss Tian Wu, who was deeply in love with his young master, would hurt him. As it turned out, Miss Tian Wu had lost her memory. Young master, what should we do now? Xiong Quan asked. As long as we find the soul-stabilizing grass and refine the medicinal liquid for Tian Wu to consume, her soul will be completely healed. At that time, she'll naturally remember everything that happened in the past. Duan Ling Tian said. That's good. Xiong Quan nodded and heaved a sigh of relief. He was really worried that Miss Tian Wu would not be able to recover that day. The conversation between Duan Ling Tian and Xiong Quan fell into Feng Tianwu's ears. Why? Why did I lose my memory? Feng Tianwu asked as she looked at Duan Ling Tian. Although her face was still covered with a layer of frost, she no longer rejected Duan Ling Tian like before. This could be seen when she took the initiative to talk to Duan Ling Tian. When Duan Ling Tian heard Feng Tianwu's question, he could not help but recall the past. To him, it was undoubtedly a painful past that he could not bear to look back on. However, in the face of Feng Tianwu who had lost her memory, he still told her everything. He mainly told her how Feng Tianwu had forcefully raised her fire profundity and even caused the fire spirit body's energy in her body to collapse because of him. Naturally, he also told her how he suppressed the violent fire spirit body's energy in Feng Tianwu's body after he devilified, but her soul was still severely injured. Then, he told her what happened after that. So that's how it is. In the past, I was willing to sacrifice everything for you, including my own life. Feng Tianwu muttered to herself. Although Feng Tianwu learned about the past from Duan Ling Tian, she had lost her memory after all. Listening to Duan Ling Tian's recount of the past was more like listening to a story. It was impossible for her to be as close to Duan Ling Tian as before. Although she was colder than before, she could still accept Duan Ling Tian and no longer rejected Duan Ling Tian. Duan Ling Tian was very satisfied with this. At the very least, he did not have to worry about Tian Wu attacking him again. Now, all I have to do is wait for the soul-stabilizing herb to restore Tian Wu's memory. Tian Wu who hasn't restored her memory won't be able to revert to her previous self even if she knows about the past. Duan Ling Tian thought to himself. The current Feng Tianwu was as cold as ice. She was completely different from before. Apart from Duan Ling Tian, she had a cold expression on her face when she faced everyone else. It was as though she owed her a lot of money. Duan Ling Tian felt helpless about this. He tried to change her, but in the end, he realized there was nothing he could do. In the end, Duan Ling Tian had no choice but to let her be. In a mansion on the east side of the Lu clan's estate. Whoosh! A swift figure descended from the sky like an eagle and landed steadily in the backyard of the mansion. In the backyard pavilion, a gray-clad young man sat in front of a stone table with a wooden sword in his hand. His face was gloomy, and no one knew what he was thinking about. Young master, are you thinking about little young master again? The person who came was an old man. He saw the wooden sword in the gray-clad young man's hand as soon as he walked into the pavilion. Elder Guan, do you still remember this wooden sword? The gray-clad young man asked as he twirled the wooden sword in his hand. Yes. The old man nodded and sighed. This is the wooden sword that you personally made for the young master on his 5th birthday. Back then, the young master was very happy when he received this gift. That's right. In the blink of an eye, almost 30 years have passed. Chapter 1081. Young Master, I've heard of something. When the old man saw that his young master was reminiscing about the past, he quickly changed the topic. It has something to do with the Duan Lingtian? The gray-clad young man was none other than Lu Song, the first young master of Lu clan. His eyes gleamed as he looked at the old man. Yes. The old man nodded. Speak. Lu Song said. Today, the clan leader has issued a bounty to the entire northern mountain land and even the southern outer land. The old man said. A bounty? However, what does the patriarch issuing a reward have to do with Duan Lingtian? Lu Song asked with a frown. What if the clan leader issued the bounty on behalf of the Duan Lingtian? The old man asked. Oh. Lu Song's interest was piqued when he heard the old man's words. What kind of bounty did the clan leader issue on behalf of the Duan Lingtian? He's looking for a rare medicinal herb called the soul-stabilizing grass. The old man told him what he had heard. At the same time, he raised his hand, and a painting appeared out of thin air in his hand. There was a lifelike grass on the painting. This is the painting that the clan leader asked someone to copy and distribute. He's looking for this grass. The old man added. I've never seen this grass before. Lu Song looked at the grass on the painting and shook his head with a frown. Do you know why the Duan Lingtian wants this grass? I've never heard of it. The old man shook his head. Although I don't know why he wants this grass, one thing's for sure. This grass is very important to him, and he's desperate to get his hands on it. What do you mean? Lu Song looked at the old man in confusion. Young master, do you know what reward the Duan Lingtian promised to the person who finds this grass when he asked the clan leader to issue this bounty? The old man asked. Don't keep me in suspense. How would I know? Lu Song said impatiently, hurry up and say it. The Duan Lingtian promised a grade 1 spirit weapon and 10 grade 1 life recovery pills for this bounty. The old man enunciated each word clearly. When he mentioned the grade 1 spirit weapon, his eyes gleamed with greed. Although he was a martial monarch, the best spirit weapon he had was only a grade 2 spirit weapon. Although the Lu clan had a few grade 1 spirit weapons, with his current status, he was destined to not be able to obtain them. Unless his young master became the clan leader of Lu clan one day, he might be able to benefit from it and obtain a grade 1 spirit weapon to further improve his strength. A first-grade spiritual weapon. Hearing the old man's words, Lu Song's pupils shrank. His hand trembled, and he accidentally broke the wooden sword in his hand. However, he did not seem to notice it at all. He stared at the old man before him. Are you sure it's a grade 1 spirit weapon? Yes. The old man nodded affirmatively. For this reason, I have confirmed it over and over again. There are only 4 grade 1 spirit weapons in the clan. The clan leader is actually going to give up one of them for Duan Lingtian? A cold gleam flashed in Lu Song's eyes, and a hint of jealousy appeared on his face. The grade 1 spirit weapon that's on the bounty list is not the clan's grade 1 spirit weapon. The old man shook his head. Not the clan's grade 1 spirit weapon. Lu Song was stunned. Then, he asked, don't tell me it's Duan Lingtian's grade 1 spirit weapon. I believe he can refine a grade 1 life recovery pill. However, in the entire southern outer land, only the guild master of the Weapons Craftsman Guild's main guild can refine a grade 1 spirit weapon. A grade 1 spirit weapon is extremely rare even in the entire southern outer land. Even many martial monarchs from second-rate forces might not even have a grade 1 spirit weapon. Lu Song said. Based on his tone, it was obvious he did not think Duan Lingtian would be able to take out a grade 1 spirit weapon. Young master, don't forget that Duan Lingtian is a grade 1 alchemist. As long as he's willing, he can use a grade 1 pill to exchange for a grade 1 spirit weapon, the old man said. That's right. Now that you mention it, there's a possibility. Looks like Duan Lingtian has quite a few treasures on him. Lu Song nodded. His eyes gleamed with greed. Perhaps, this is our chance. Lu Song muttered with a cold smile on his face. He seemed to have recalled something. Chance? The old man was puzzled. Yes, chance. A chance to kill Duan Lingtian. The moment Lu Song's words left his mouth, a cold gleam shot out of his eyes. It was only when his gaze inadvertently fell on the broken wooden sword in his hand that he calmed down again. Xiao Huai, don't worry. I'll avenge you. I'm not your big brother if I don't tear Duan Lingtian into pieces. Lu Song said as he looked at the wooden sword. The old man's eyes lit up when he heard Lu Song's words. He knew his young master very well. If he wasn't completely confident, he would never have said those words that were filled with confidence. He was looking forward to it. Young master, what's your plan to kill Duan Lingtian? The old man could not help but ask. Lu Song did not hide anything from the old man. He told the old man the plan that had flashed in his mind earlier. After he finished speaking, Lu Song looked at the old man and asked, "What do you think of this plan?" "You're wise, young master." A bright smile appeared on the old man's face when he heard the plan. "It seems like not only will you avenge little young master, but you'll also be able to make a fortune." A smug smile appeared on Lu Song's face when he heard the old man's praise. "Duan Lingtian, just you wait." Soon after, a purple figure appeared in his mind. Killing intent shot out from his eyes as though he was about to devour his target. A huge net that was filled with conspiracies was closing in on Duan Lingtian. It was waiting for him to fall into it and be doomed eternally. Naturally, Duan Lingtian was unaware of all this. Due to the life recovery pill and a few days of recuperation, the injury that Tian Wu left on Duan Lingtian had finally healed. However, there was still a scar on his chest. The life recovery pill could have completely removed the scar, but Duan Lingtian had purposely left it behind. Leaving it behind is also an unforgettable memory. A faint smile appeared on Duan Lingtian's face as he touched the scar on his chest while he was bathing. After he finished bathing, he cleaned himself up before he sat on the bed and began to cultivate. At this moment, the only thing left in the room was the empty ice coffin. As for Tian Wu, he asked the servant to arrange for her to stay in the room next door. 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique, Roaming Dragon Transformation. Duan Lingtian began to immerse himself in his cultivation before he knew it. He was holding 2 different concept fragments in his hand. He was comprehending the 2 different concepts as he cultivated. Why do I still feel like something's not right? Soon after, Duan Lingtian opened his eyes. He had a confused expression on his face as though he had encountered something that puzzled him. This is not the first time. I didn't have this feeling when I comprehended 2 different concepts at the same time. Duan Lingtian shook his head as he closed his eyes again. He continued to cultivate and comprehend the 2 different concepts. Soon after, he opened his eyes again. What's going on? Duan Lingtian frowned. There was only confusion on his face. Ever since he left the Crimson Sky Kingdom, he felt like something was not right every time he comprehended 2 different concepts through 2 different concept fragments at the same time. Every time he comprehended a concept, he would be slightly distracted. Sometimes, he would be distracted when he comprehended one concept, and sometimes, he would be distracted when he comprehended another concept. I must find the reason this time. Duan Lingtian was troubled by this. It greatly affected his efficiency in comprehending concepts. As time went by, Duan Lingtian experimented again and again. He wanted to find the reason why he was distracted when he comprehended concepts. After an hour, he finally found the reason. Is this even possible? After finding out the reason, Duan Lingtian did not know whether to laugh or cry. If there was a second person here and looked carefully at Duan Lingtian's hand, he would definitely notice that Duan Lingtian had a total of 3 concept fragments in his hand. 3 completely different concept fragments. Duan Lingtian had experimented earlier. Currently, he could comprehend 3 different concepts at the same time through 3 different concept fragments at the same time. Moreover, the speed at which he comprehended the 3 concepts was not slow at all. Most importantly, the feeling of being distracted was completely gone. As it turns out, the reason why I'm distracted is because another part of my consciousness has been separated. It must be the after effect of being devilified by the Devil Seal tablet for the second time in the Crimson Sky Kingdom. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to figure this out. He still remembered. The reason he could comprehend 2 different concepts through 2 different concept fragments at the same time was because of the after effect of being devilified by the Devil Seal tablet for the first time. At that time, his consciousness was forcefully divided into 2. This time, a third part of his consciousness was forcefully divided, allowing him to comprehend 3 different concepts through 3 different concept fragments at the same time. All in all, this after effect is not a bad thing. It's completely different from the after effect of not being able to control my emotions. The latter will only harm me, but the former will help me. After figuring out the cause and effect of everything, Duan Lingtian sighed in relief. It was better to know everything than to not know. I can't believe the thing that troubled me for so long was actually because my consciousness was divided into 3. Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled wryly. Now that my consciousness has been divided into 3, I can comprehend 3 different concepts through 3 different concept fragments at the same time. My speed of comprehending concepts has doubled again. When he thought of this, Duan Lingtian was secretly delighted. At the same time, he closed his eyes and focused on cultivating again. Chapter 1082. At this moment, Duan Lingtian was completely immersed in his cultivation. He was immersed in comprehending the concept. Comprehending 3 different concepts at the same time gave him a brand new feeling. It was a delightful feeling. This feeling was something he had never felt before. Although there was no substantial improvement in his strength after a night of cultivation, Duan Lingtian was still happy. He was happy that his consciousness was divided into 3. He was happy that he could comprehend 3 different concepts at the same time. Elder Duan. When the sun was high up in the sky, Duan Lingtian, who had just finished washing up, heard the maid's voice outside his door. Duan Lingtian saw a maid standing outside the door handing him a spatial ring as soon as he opened the door. She said, "Elder Duan, the clan leader asked me to pass this to you." "The clan leader is here." Upon hearing the maid's words, Duan Lingtian, who took the spatial ring, was a little surprised. "Yes." The maid nodded. The clan leader came early in the morning. He left after leaving this spatial ring because he didn't want to disturb your rest, Elder Duan. Duan Lingtian nodded and turned the spatial ring in his hand for a while before returning to his room. After closing the door behind him, he pricked his finger and dripped his blood on the spatial ring to establish ownership. It seems like the clan leader is in a hurry. Duan Lingtian shook his head and smiled before he even had the time to check what was in the spatial ring. He could already guess why the clan leader of Lu clan was looking for him. Just as he had guessed, there were many herbs and a list in the spatial ring. There were a few grade 1 pills that he was asked to refine. However, the number of medicinal pills requested caused Duan Lingtian to be slightly speechless. Is he looking down on me? Duan Lingtian could not help but smile wryly as he looked at the herbs that were piled up like a mountain in the spatial ring and the number of grade 1 pills on the list. According to the number of grade 1 pills required on the list, he would only need a 30% success rate to refine the pills using the mountain of medicinal herbs in his storage ring. I'll only need 30% of the medicinal herbs at most to refine the number of grade 1 pills stated on the list. Oh well, since the clan leader wants to give me the medicinal herbs, I can only accept it. After muttering to himself, a bright smile appeared on Duan Lingtian's face. If the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, was here, he would definitely be speechless when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. In fact, in Lu Rui's opinion, Looking at the number of several types of grade 1 pills on the list, the pile of medicinal herbs he had prepared in his spatial ring was undoubtedly very tight. If it was just an ordinary grade 1 alchemist, it would be difficult for them to refine the number of grade 1 pills stated on the list even if they consumed all the herbs. This was because the success rate of a grade 1 alchemist was usually between 20% and 30%. It was rare for them to exceed 30%. Even the guild leader of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land only had a success rate of 25% when refining grade 1 pills. In the Lu clan's 10,000 years of history, the only person who could refine grade 1 pills with a success rate of more than 30% was the ancestor who founded the Lu clan. Among the dozens of grade 1 alchemists in the later generations, the highest success rate when refining grade 1 pills was only 28%. The mission he gave Duan Lingtian required a success rate of 30% to be fulfilled. Naturally, he was not trying to make things difficult for Duan Lingtian. Even if Duan Lingtian had used up all the medicinal materials in the spatial ring and still could not refine the number of grade 1 pills required on the list, he would not be dissatisfied at all. The reason he did this was because he wanted to test Duan Lingtian's medicine refining skills. After all, before this, he only knew Duan Lingtian could condense a grade 1 pill fire, was a grade 1 alchemist, and was knowledgeable in medicine refining. He knew nothing about Duan Lingtian's medicine refining skills. Fortunately, Duan Lingtian did not know what Lu Rui was thinking. Otherwise, he would have scoffed at him. Lu Rui wanted to test his success rate of refining grade 1 pills to see if it was 30%. He was looking down on Lu Rui. After all, Lu Rui, who had merged with the reincarnation Emperor Wu's medicine refining skills and experience, was no different from the reincarnation Emperor Wu when he refined pills. As long as he did not get distracted, his success rate would be 100%. 100% was equivalent to 100%. These medicinal herbs are all used to refine grade 1 pills. They're extremely valuable. However, 70% of them will belong to me after today. Before Duan Lingtian began to refine the few types of pills, he glanced at the mountain of medicinal herbs in his spatial ring. The smile on his face grew wider. After a while, he calmed down and began to refine the few grade 1 pills that Lu Rui requested on the list. The grade 1 life recovery pill was on the list. As for the other types, they were grade 1 pills that were as difficult to refine as the grade 1 life recovery pill. However, they were not as widely used as the grade 1 life recovery pill. It made sense when one thought about it. The grade 1 life recovery pill was a healing pill. It would be useful as long as someone was injured. As for the other types of pills, they were not as widely used. How much should I control the purity? Duan Lingtian, who took out his cauldron and was about to refine the few grade 1 pills on the list, suddenly thought of this problem. He was slightly troubled. With his medicine refining skills, it was undoubtedly a piece of cake for him to refine grade 1 pills with a purity of 90% and above. If I refine grade 1 pills with a purity of 90% and above, will it scare the clan leader? Duan Lingtian had no choice but to think about this problem. Forget it. I'll just suppress my strength a little and refine pills with a purity of 90% and above. Soon after, Duan Lingtian made up his mind. He only made this decision after taking into account that the Lu clan had helped him a lot. Naturally, the main reason was that he wanted to keep a low profile. Otherwise, it would not be difficult for him to refine grade 1 pills with a purity of 95% and above. In Duan Lingtian's opinion, the few types of pills on the list were very basic and ordinary grade 1 pills. As long as he was willing, he could refine them into pills with a purity of 95% and above. I'm afraid pills with a purity of 90% and above are enough to scare the clan leader. If I refine pills with a purity of 95% and above, it'll be bad if the clan leader gets a heart attack. Apart from keeping a low profile, Duan Lingtian was also thinking for the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. He decided not to refine the few grade 1 pills on the list with a purity of 95% and above. A purity of 90% and above would be good enough. After pondering for a long time, Duan Lingtian finally made up his mind to refine the few grade 1 pills on the list. The spacious central hall of the Lu clan's mansion was filled with people. The person sitting in the main seat was none other than Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan. Two old men, one fat and one skinny, sat below Lu Rui. Apart from being fat and skinny, the difference in height was huge as well. The fat one was short like a ball. The skinny one was tall like a bamboo pole. They were two of the Lu clan's 3 guardian elders, Lu Yuan and Lu Gui. Both of them were martial monarch powerhouses. A group of Lu clan's elders, including Lu So, stood below Lu Yuan and Lu Gui. These Lu clan's elders had one thing in common: they were all elders who focused on the medicine refinement Tao. Apart from a few grade 2 alchemists, most of these elders were grade 3 alchemists. There was not a single grade 4 alchemist among them. In the Lu clan, one had to fulfill at least one of the 2 conditions to become an elder. 2 conditions. First, one had to be a non-alchemist who focused on the martial Tao and whose cultivation base was at the 9th level void transformation stage or above. Second, one had to be a grade 3 alchemist or above. Therefore, unless one's cultivation base was at the 9th level void transformation stage or above, one would not be qualified to become an elder in the Lu clan. Currently, Lu Yuan and Lu Gui were the only ones who were not alchemists among the people present. According to them, today was the day. They were just here to join in the fun. Clan leader, which pills did you ask Elder Duan to refine? Lu Yuan narrowed his small eyes and asked Lu Rui. The moment Lu Yuan's words left his mouth, all the Lu clan's elders present on the scene narrowed their eyes and looked at Lu Rui in unison. They were curious about this as well. Lu Rui smiled faintly and told them the few grade 1 pills that he had asked Duan Lingtian to refine on the list. Initially, everyone felt that something was amiss. However, after Lu Rui told them the number of grade 1 pills he had listed on the list and the number of medicinal herbs he had stored in Duan Lingtian's spatial ring, they all felt that something was amiss. Clan leader, if Elder Duan wants to refine the number of grade 1 pills you've listed on the list with the medicinal herbs you've prepared, he'll need at least a 30% success rate, right? Lu So asked after inhaling sharply. A 30% success rate. In the history of our Lu clan, it seems like only the old ancestor who founded our Lu clan can achieve that. Clan leader, you're making things difficult for Elder Duan. Elder Duan won't be displeased and leave the Lu clan in a fit of anger, right? The group of Lu clan's elders discussed among themselves. Most of them had a worried expression on their faces. They were worried that Duan Lingtian would fly into a rage and leave the Lu clan in a fit of anger because Lu Rui deliberately made things difficult for him. At that time, the Lu clan would be the one to suffer a loss. Clan leader, although I'm not an alchemist, I've been in the clan for many years. After being influenced by what I've seen and heard, I know that there are very few grade 1 alchemists who can refine grade 1 pills with a 30% success rate. Lu Gui said with a frown. Clan leader, if Elder Duan is really angry and leaves the Lu clan, it'll be a great loss for us. Why don't I send some medicinal herbs over? Lu Yuan said. Elders, don't worry. I only did that to test Elder Duan's ability. I didn't mean to make things difficult for him. Faced with the group of Lu clan's elders' worries, Lu Rui smiled disapprovingly. Moreover, based on my interactions with Elder Duan, he's definitely not that petty, clan leader. Before Lu Rui could finish his words, he was interrupted by a loud voice that resonated from outside. Elder Duan asked me to pass you the medicinal pills that you asked him to refine. Then, the voice continued to resonate. Chapter 1083. What? The smile on Lu Rui's face froze when he heard the words from outside. Shock and disbelief could be seen in his eyes. Crack. A soft sound resonated in the air. Lu Rui had unconsciously tightened his grip on the armrest of the chair and broke it. However, he did not seem to notice it at all. His expression was blank. Gulp. Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, who were sitting next to Lu Rui, gulped almost at the same time before they turned to look at Lu Rui in unison. Clan leader. Didn't you say you only sent the medicinal herbs and the list over early this morning to ask Elder Duan to refine the pills? Lu Yuan asked in a daze. That's right. How could Elder Duan have finished refining the pills in just one morning? Lu Gui chimed in. As for the remaining Lu clan's elders, they looked at Lu Rui in confusion after they regained their senses. They wanted to know what was going on. I've no idea as well. Lu Rui shook his head with a frown in the face of the Lu clan's elders' questioning gaze. After a moment of silence, Lu Rui seemed to have thought of something. His furrowed brows relaxed as he muttered, perhaps Elder Duan already has a portion of the pills on the list that I gave him. That's why he asked someone to pass that portion of the pills to me first. Although Lu Rui's voice was not loud, it still entered the ears of the Lu clan's elders who were present. That must be it. That's the only possibility. The few grade 1 pills on the list that the clan leader gave Elder Duan would take at least 10 days to half a month to refine them. Elder Duan is a grade 1 alchemist, he must have a lot of grade 1 life recovery pills with him. Perhaps, he asked someone to send the grade 1 life recovery pills he had on hand to the clan leader first. The Lu clan's elders discussed among themselves as they voiced their opinions. Come in. At this moment, Lu Rui called the Lu clan's disciple who had sent the pills in from outside the main hall. Clan leader. After the Lu clan's disciple entered, he handed the spatial ring in his hand to Lu Rui respectfully before he turned around and left. After the Lu clan's disciple left, everyone's eyes shifted to Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan. To be more precise, it landed on the spatial ring in Lu Rui's hand. Elder Duan is an erudite and knowledgeable grade 1 alchemist. I wonder what the purity of the grade 1 pills he refined is like. He should be stronger than the Alchemist Guild's Guild Master Cheng from the southern outer continent. That might not necessarily be the case. You should know that the grade 1 pills refined by guild leader Cheng can occasionally achieve a purity of 70% and above. The group of Lu clan's elders began to whisper again, but their eyes never left the spatial ring in Lu Rui's hand. Under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Lu Rui pricked his finger and dripped a drop of blood onto the ring to establish ownership. In the next moment, with a thought, he looked into the space inside his storage ring. When he saw the neatly arranged and densely packed pill bottles in the storage ring, his pupils suddenly shrank. Why are there so many pill bottles? Could it be that Elder Duan has a habit of storing one pill in one pill bottle? On the Cloud Continent, there were some alchemists with strange temperaments who liked to use a medicinal pill bottle to store one medicinal pill. He had heard of it before. What a waste. Although Lu Rui felt that it was a waste to store one medicinal pill in a medicinal pill bottle, he still took out one of the medicinal pill bottles and opened the cork to look inside. He was mentally prepared and thought that there was only one medicinal pill in the medicinal pill bottle. When he saw what was inside the medicinal pill bottle, his pupils shrank again. 10 grade 1 life recovery pills. Lu Rui noticed that there were 10 medicinal pills in the medicinal pill bottle. A rich medicinal fragrance wafted out and assailed his nostrils. It made him feel relaxed and happy. If it was any other time, he would definitely be able to notice the difference in the grade 1 life recovery pills in the medicinal pill bottle from the rich medicinal fragrance. However, his mind was not on that at that moment. The other medicinal pill bottles, he hurriedly closed the medicinal pill bottle in his hand and looked at the other medicinal pill bottles. In the end, he noticed that there were 10 medicinal pills in each medicinal pill bottle. Most importantly, these medicinal pills were the medicinal pills that were marked on the list that he gave to Duan Lingtian. The types and quantity of the grade 1 medicinal pills were exactly the same as what he stated on the list. Lu Rui was dumbstruck after he confirmed this. Lu Yuan and Lu Gui who were sitting below him were puzzled. The group of Lu clan's elders who were standing in the main hall were curious why the clan leader would lose his composure. Clan leader, is there something wrong? Lu Yuan and Lu Gui asked in unison. Lu Rui finally regained his senses when he heard Lu Yuan and Lu Gui's words. He took a deep breath and looked at the crowd again, causing them to exchange glances with him. The few grade 1 medicinal pills that I stated on the list this morning. Elder Duan has completed all of them. No matter if it's the type or quantity, it's exactly the same. Lu Rui said solemnly with a complicated gaze as he looked at the group of Lu clan's elders. Boom! The moment Lu Rui's words left his mouth, it was as though a bolt of lightning had struck. All of the Lu clan's elders, including the 2 Lu clan's guardian elders, were stunned. Elder Duan had completed all of the medicinal pills that the clan leader stated on the list. No matter if it's the type or quantity, it's exactly the same. The group of Lu clan's elders could not regain their senses for a long time. When they finally regained their senses, they began to discuss among themselves. The entire Lu clan's main hall was in an uproar as though it had turned into a wet market. Elder Duan has refined all of the medicinal pills that the clan leader requested? That's impossible. How could he refine so many medicinal pills in just one morning? I think he already has those medicinal pills and the quantity is sufficient. That's why he asked someone to send them over. The group of Lu clan's elders discussed among themselves. The last person's speculation changed the topic. Other than this, I can't think of any other possibility. Even if Guild Master Cheng of our Southern Outer Lands Alchemist Guild's main guild were to personally refine those pills, I'm afraid he'd need 10 days to half a month to refine all of them without any rest. He refined all of them in just one morning. That's impossible. The Lu clan's elders soon came to a conclusion. The grade 1 medicinal pills that the clan leader requested Elder Duan to refine happened to be in Elder Duan's possession. Not only that, but he also had enough of them, so he simply asked someone to send them over. If Elder Duan refined the medicinal herbs that the clan leader gave him, he might not be able to refine enough medicinal pills. One of the Lu clan's elders said. The others agreed with his words. After all, it required a 30% success rate. Wait a minute. However, at this moment, a horrified voice resonated in the air and drowned out the voices of the group of Lu clan's elders. At once, the group of Lu clan's elders turned to look at the source of the voice. The person who spoke was none other than the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. Under the watchful eyes of the others, Lu Rui's hands moved as fast as lightning. Subsequently, medicinal pill bottles appeared in his hands one by one. He opened the stoppers on the medicinal pill bottles one by one, and the medicinal pills appeared in his hands one by one. At the same time, a rich medicinal fragrance filled the entire Lu clan's main hall, causing the group of Lu clan's elders to feel refreshed. Some of them even took a deep breath and closed their eyes in comfort, enjoying the medicinal fragrance that assailed their nostrils. Soon after, some of the Lu clan's elders regained their senses. Shock was written all over their faces. Such a medicinal fragrance. It can only be emitted by medicinal pills that have just been refined and left the cauldron less than a day ago. One of the Lu clan's elders could not help but exclaim in a low voice. He was one of the few grade 2 alchemists in the Lu clan, so he was very familiar with some of the characteristics of medicinal pills. The medicinal fragrance of a medicinal pill that had just been refined for less than a day and a medicinal pill that had been refined for more than a day would be completely different. This was something that nothing, including the pill bottles and storage rings, could affect. All of the medicinal pills have this medicinal fragrance, Lu Rui said solemnly. Lu Rui said with a solemn face. His expression was still a little stiff, and he had not completely recovered from the shock. How's this possible? These medicinal pills are all medicinal pills that have been refined for less than a day. The medicinal fragrance won't lie. Soon after, the entire Lu clan's main hall was in an uproar. Each of the Lu clan's elders was dumbfounded. They could not believe all of this was real. In their opinion, this was something that was almost impossible to happen. In other words, all of these medicinal pills were refined by Elder Duan in just a day. Lu Yuan swallowed a mouthful of saliva and looked at Lu Rui with a stunned expression as he asked. Although I can't believe all of this is real, the truth is right in front of my eyes. I have no choice but to believe it. Elder Duan is no ordinary grade 1 alchemist. Lu Rui said slowly as he regained his senses. He inhaled sharply and enunciated each and every word slowly. Lu Rui's words fell into the ears of the stunned Lu clan's elders. They could not agree more. Then, not only is Elder Duan's refining speed heaven-defying, but his success rate is also more than 30%. That seems to be the case. Monster. The group of Lu clan's elders was in an uproar again. It was one thing for his refining speed to be fast, but his success rate was so high as well. How could they live with this? Most importantly, Elder Duan is only a young man in his 20s. I originally thought that since I was able to become a grade 2 alchemist, my innate talent in medicine refinement was already quite good. However, compared to Elder Duan, all these years of my life have been in vain. One of the Lu clan's elders sighed. He was also one of the few grade 2 alchemists in the Lu clan. His words made the other Lu clan's elders lower their heads in shame. They felt so ashamed that they wanted to crawl into a hole. How's this possible? Soon after, another exclamation resonated in the air, alarming all of the Lu clan's elders. They could tell it was the clan leader's voice again. For a moment, before they even looked up at Lu Rui, their hearts skipped a beat. Chapter 1084. Boom. When the group of Lu clan's elders turned to look at the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, in unison, a loud noise resonated in the air. It shocked them so much that their hearts skipped a beat. Lu Rui lost his composure and rose from his seat. His seat shattered and fell to the ground with a loud crash. What the hell is going on? The clan leader lost his composure. It must be something extraordinary for the clan leader to lose his composure like that. We have to be mentally prepared. I think so too. The group of Lu clan's elders whispered among themselves. However, their eyes never left Lu Rui. At the same time, they tried their best to remain alert and mentally prepared themselves to be shocked. Lu Rui stood at the head of the main hall. He was holding a pill that was shining faintly in his hand. He had already put away the other pills. At this moment, Lu Rui's eyes were glued to the pill in his hand. It was as though he was possessed. Is there something wrong with that pill? Many of the Lu clan's elders were confused. Subsequently, all of the Lu clan's elders shifted their attention to the pill in Lu Rui's hand. The pill was shining faintly and emitted a pleasant medicinal fragrance. A grade 1 life recovery pill. With just a glance, they recognized this medicinal pill. How's that possible? Soon after, one of the elderly Lu clan's elders narrowed his eyes. His face was filled with shock as though he had seen something unbelievable. This Lu clan's elder was one of the few grade 2 alchemists in Lu clan. He was the old man who mocked himself for living half his life like a dog. The purity of this grade 1 life recovery pill must be above 85%, right? Another Lu clan's elder, who was also one of the Lu clan's grade 2 alchemists, muttered to himself with a shocked expression on his face. No. It's not just 85%. The purity of this grade 1 life recovery pill must be above 90%. Apart from the two old men and the clan leader of Lu clan, the last Lu clan's grade 2 alchemist elder spoke as well. His expression was extremely solemn. 90%. A grade 1 life recovery pill with a purity of above 90%? As soon as the Lu clan's elder spoke, the entire Lu clan's main hall fell into a dead silence. Each of the Lu clan's elders was stunned. Apart from Lu Yuan and Lu Gui, the two guardian elders who majored in the martial Dao. The other Lu clan's elders were all grade 3 alchemists. Although they could tell the purity of the pill in the clan leader's hand was very high, they did not dare to determine how high it was. After all, it was a grade 1 medicinal pill. Now, when they heard the words of the second grade alchemist elder, they were shocked. Elders, please take a look. At this moment, Lu Rui, who was standing at the head of the table, came back to his senses. He raised his hand and threw the grade 1 life recovery pill to one of the grade 2 alchemists. Immediately, the other two grade 2 alchemists surrounded him. The purity is about 91%. After a few moments, the three grade 2 alchemist elders confirmed the purity of the grade 1 life recovery pill in their hands. 91%. The remaining group of grade 3 alchemists and elders all sucked in a breath of cold air. Their faces and eyes were filled with disbelief. I can't believe that not only is Elder Duan's refining speed fast and his success rate high, but the purity of the pills he refined is also so terrifying. Lu Yuan said with a shocked expression. Is Elder Duan really human? Lu Gui's eyes narrowed as he muttered to himself. If he's not human, could he be a demon? It's almost impossible for a demon to become an alchemist, let alone such a monstrous grade 1 alchemist. Lu Yuan said. Clan leader, how's the purity of the other pills? The three grade 2 alchemist elders looked at Lu Rui in unison with a burning gaze. Take a look for yourselves. Lu Rui took a deep breath and raised his hand. He threw 3 pill bottles at the 3 grade 2 alchemist elders. After the 3 grade 2 alchemist elders caught the pill bottles, they opened them eagerly and poured out the pills one by one. Their eyes were fixed on the pills that were poured out one by one. The purity of these pills seems to be very high as well. Yeah, it doesn't feel any lower than the grade 1 life recovery pill. The group of grade 3 alchemist elders around them whispered among themselves. These medicinal pills, all have a purity of 91%. How's this possible? Soon after, one of the grade 2 alchemist elders finished inspecting the 10 grade 1 pills in his hand and said in disbelief. All of them are 91%. The surrounding grade 3 alchemist elders were stunned. The purity of the 10 grade 1 pills in this pill bottle is 91% as well. Before the crowd could recover from their shock, another rank 2 medicine refinement elder spoke up. Mine is the same as well. The last grade 2 alchemist elder chimed in. Whoosh! As soon as the 3 grade 2 alchemist elders finished speaking, an uproar broke out. It was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. How's this possible? At this moment, even Lu Yuan and Lu Gui who were laymen could not help but turn pale with fright. Isn't it difficult for an alchemist to control the purity of pills when refining pills? That's right. One of the grade 2 alchemist elders nodded. We alchemists will more or less encounter some unexpected situations when refining pills. Therefore, it's very difficult to accurately refine pills with a fixed purity. Usually, we can only control it within a certain range. Another grade 2 alchemist elder added. To be able to fix the purity of the medicinal pills at 91%. That Elder Duan is simply a monster among monsters. The last grade 2 alchemist elder placed the 10 pills in his hand back into the pill bottle and continued, according to our Lu clan's ancestral handbook, even the old ancestor who established our Lu clan only refined grade 1 pills with a purity of 82% at its peak. It's fine if it's high purity. The problem is that he can fix the purity of all the grade 1 pills at 91%. It's unbelievable. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I wouldn't believe that anyone can do this. Lu Rui took a deep breath and said in a deep voice. At this moment, even he, the clan leader of the Lu clan who was known as an alchemist clan, could not maintain his composure and completely lost his composure. This was because what he had encountered was just too shocking. I'm afraid it's hard to find another grade 1 alchemist who's as terrifying as Elder Duan in the entire Cloud continent. The other grade 1 alchemists, including the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land, are nothing compared to him. Lu Rui's breathing quickened, and his face was filled with excitement. I thought Elder Duan was just an ordinary grade 1 alchemist. I can't believe he's such a terrifying grade 1 alchemist. Lu Yuan exclaimed in shock. At this moment, he also realized how terrifying the young grade 1 alchemist was from the words of the alchemists present on the scene. Our Lu clan has Elder Duan, so why should we worry about our prosperity? Lu Gui's eyes lit up. Perhaps, it's time for me to talk to our honorable Elder Duan. Lu Rui gradually calmed down and muttered to himself. In the backyard of a spacious mansion on the eastern side of the Lu clan's mansion. Boom! A flame soared into the sky from the backyard, and its momentum was vast. The flame came from a red-clad lady who was hovering in the air. As the flame on the lady's body soared, her red dress fluttered as well, making her look like a fire elf. Whoosh! As the flame on the lady's body soared, the heaven and earth energy stirred above her head and gradually formed the heaven and earth phenomenon. Ancient horned dragon silhouettes gradually appeared. In just a blink of an eye, the number of ancient horned dragon silhouettes increased to thousands. However, it was very unstable. Sometimes, it would increase to 800 to 900 silhouettes as though it was being restricted by something. Is it still not working? A purple-clad young man stood at the side and asked solemnly as he stared at the red-clad lady intently. The woman with a peerlessly beautiful face nodded her head without saying anything. If one looked closely, one would notice that beads of sweat were continuously forming on her forehead. More and more beads of sweat formed and eventually dripped down her beautiful face. Drip! Drip! Droplets of sweat fell on the ground and bloomed into water droplets. It was a beautiful scene. Take a rest. The purple-clad young man was Duan Lingtian. He said to the red-clad lady who was hovering in the air. The red-clad lady was Feng Tianwu. To be more precise, she was Feng Tianwu who had lost her memory. However, Feng Tianwu did not take a rest as Duan Lingtian had said. She allowed her fragrant sweat to drip down as she stubbornly continued to raise the flame that rose around her body. Boom! The flame soared into the sky as the heaven and earth phenomenon above her head rose to thousands of ancient horned dragon silhouettes. However, the number of ancient horned dragon silhouettes fell back to 800 to 900 silhouettes. Sigh. Upon seeing this, Duan Lingtian could not help but sigh. I can't believe that Tian Wu can't even control her origin energy and profundity after losing her memory. To the current her, the power she mastered before is very unfamiliar. I'm afraid she'll need some time to fully master her power now. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Currently, Feng Tianwu was no longer the fire spirit body. In other words, she was the former fire spirit body that had undergone nirvana rebirth. Previously, when the fire spirit body's power erupted in her body, it almost caused her to explode. At the critical moment, Duan Lingtian, who had been devilified by the Devil Seal tablet, injected a mysterious black energy into her body to suppress the fire spirit body's power in her body. After the fire spirit body's power was suppressed, it completely dissipated and merged into her body for her use. Chapter 1085. First Level Void Transformation Stage. That was Feng Tianwu's current cultivation base. Back then, after the fire spirit body's energy had merged with her origin energy, it helped her to elevate her origin energy all the way to the first level void transformation stage. Apart from the first level void transformation stage origin energy, the concept fragment in Feng Tianwu's body had also completely transformed into a profundity fragment. Currently, she was a first-level void transformation stage martial artist who had mastered the fire profundity. Unfortunately, since she had lost her memory, she still could not fully control her strength. Of course, it was fortunate that it was so. Otherwise, the speed of her sword stabbing toward Duan Lingtian when she had just woken up from her deep slumber would have been many times faster. If that was the case, let alone Duan Lingtian who could not react in time, even she might not be able to withdraw her sword in time to avoid Duan Lingtian's heart, which was his vital point. It could be said that it was fortunate that Feng Tianwu could not control her strength after she had lost her memory. Otherwise, Duan Lingtian would definitely die. Whoosh! 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 Other than Feng Tianwu who was adapting to her strength, a series of ear-piercing sword whistling sound resonated from nearby. It was Xiong Quan who was practicing his sword. Perhaps, it's time to look for the clan leader. The spirit fruit and the profound assimilation formation are the things that Xiong Quan and I desperately need right now. Duan Lingtian glanced at Xiong Quan and muttered to himself. Elder Duan. At this moment, a voice that sounded like an oriole's resonated from afar. Xiao Yun. Duan Lingtian was puzzled when he saw servant Xiao Yun who had rushed into the backyard in a panic. What's the matter? Why are you in such a panic? Elder Duan, the clan leader is here. He's waiting for you in the main hall. Servant Xiao Yun said respectfully. Clan leader. Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up, and he smiled. Speak of the devil. Who's the devil? Servant Xiao Yun was stunned when she heard Duan Lingtian's words. Duan Lingtian was stunned. Only then did he remember that there was no Chao Chao in this world. Duan Lingtian had a flash of inspiration in his mind. He really didn't know how to explain it, so he just randomly made up a story. Chao Chao is the name of the family head in our hometown. Chao Chao is the head of the clan. You can call it that. The maid, Xiao Yun, was a little surprised. She then said, Elder Duan, you should hurry over. It's not good to let Chao Chao wait for too long. When Duan Lingtian heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched imperceptibly. This girl's learning ability was really strong. He applied what he had just learned. There was a large hall in the middle of the mansion that Duan Lingtian resided in. However, Duan Lingtian had never been to this place before, because he had almost never had any guests here. Patriarch. Arriving outside the main hall, Duan Lingtian saw a familiar figure standing inside. It was the head of the Lu clan, Lu Rui. Elder Duan. Lu Rui's eyes lit up. He took a step forward and personally welcomed Duan Lingtian into the main hall. What's the matter, Patriarch? Although Duan Lingtian guessed that Lu Rui must have come for the grade 1 pills that he had asked someone to send to him in the afternoon, he still pretended to be ignorant and asked. Elder Duan, I really didn't expect your medicine refinement level to be so high. It's already at the level of being heaven-defying. Lu Rui looked at Duan Lingtian with a complicated expression on his face. Not only was this frighteningly young grade 1 alchemist in front of him had a shocking refining speed, but his success rate was also so high. Not only was his success rate high, but his purity was also ridiculously high. It was actually at the heaven-defying 90% purity. In his memory, this was what he knew. In the history of the Cloud Continent, it seemed like there was only one person who could refine pills with a purity of 90% and above. That person was a person from 10,000 years ago. The reason he knew there was such a person 10,000 years ago was because of the old ancestor who established the Lu clan. The Lu clan's old ancestor had left behind a handwritten letter that had been passed down until now. Only the clan leader of Lu clan could read the handwritten letter. Nobody else was qualified to read it. According to the handwritten letter, their old ancestor had received help and guidance from that person before he became an outstanding grade 1 alchemist. According to the old ancestor, the powerhouse whom he regarded as his teacher had a level of attainment in the medicine refinement Tao that far surpassed a grade 1 alchemist. Lu Rui could not imagine what kind of person that person was. According to the handwritten letter left behind by the old ancestor, that person seemed to be an Emperor Wu powerhouse. Not only that, but he was also an Emperor Wu powerhouse who stood at the peak of the Cloud Continent. People called him Reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Rui's heart skipped a beat when he thought of this. The old ancestor said in the handwritten letter that reincarnation was the title of that Emperor Wu powerhouse. The reason why that martial emperor expert was given the title of reincarnation was because he had cultivated a heaven-defying cultivation method. Unlike ordinary people who can only live for one lifetime, that rebirth martial emperor, through that cultivation technique, can live for 3 lifetimes. When the old ancestor met him, he was going through his second life. Lu Rui seemed to have recalled something when he thought of this. He snapped back to reality and stared at the purple-clad young man standing in front of him with his eyes wide open. His body had begun to tremble uncontrollably. It was a tremor of excitement. According to the old ancestor's handwritten letter, that reincarnation Emperor Wu has to wait for 10,000 years every time he reincarnates. Judging by the time, it's about time that reincarnation Emperor Wu reincarnates for the 3rd time. Lu Rui's breathing quickened unknowingly as he stared at the purple-clad young man in front of him. Don't tell me. He's the 3rd reincarnation of reincarnation Emperor Wu. If that's the case, then his monstrous talent makes sense. The reincarnation Emperor Wu himself is a powerful alchemist. Since he reincarnated, he was born with all kinds of powerful alchemy techniques and rich experience in alchemy. Lu Rui was excited when he thought of this. Emperor Wu powerhouse. The young man standing in front of him might be the reincarnation of an Emperor Wu powerhouse. He was destined to become an Emperor Wu powerhouse in the future. In other words, the young man standing in front of him might be an Emperor Wu powerhouse in the future. Clan leader, are you alright? Duan Lingtian asked with a frown when he saw Lu Rui staring at him with gleaming eyes. Elder Duan. After Lu Rui was awakened by Duan Lingtian, he took a deep breath to suppress the excitement in his heart. He stared into Duan Lingtian's eyes and asked, Why you? Do you know the reincarnation Emperor Wu? The reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Rui's words were like a bolt of lightning. It shocked Duan Lingtian so much that his heart skipped a beat. The reincarnation Emperor Wu. How does he know about the reincarnation Emperor Wu? Why would he mention the reincarnation Emperor Wu in front of me? At this moment, while Duan Lingtian's heart was filled with shock, questions began to surface in his mind as well. However, he did not show it on his face. Who knew if this Lu Rui standing in front of him was the descendant of the reincarnation Emperor Wu's enemy? The Lu clan has been around for 10,000 years. This means the Lu clan's old ancestor who founded the Lu clan was from 10,000 years ago. Who knows, he might really have something to do with the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Moreover, he must have left behind some notes. Otherwise, the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui, would not have known about the existence of the rebirth martial emperor 10,000 years later. In just a blink of an eye, Duan Lingtian had a lot of thoughts in his mind. It was precisely because he was thinking too much that he didn't reveal his strange emotions on the surface. 10,000 years ago, the reincarnation Emperor Wu was a top powerhouse who stood at the peak of the Cloud Continent. It could be said that his name shocked the entire inner and outer continents of the Cloud Continent. In that era, even a 3-year-old child would be scared to tears upon hearing the words Rebirth Martial Emperor. Based on this, one could see how famous the reincarnation Emperor Wu was during that era. The reincarnation Emperor Wu. The powerhouse Emperor Wu. Duan Lingtian raised an eyebrow and pretended to be confused. I've never heard of him before. Although Duan Lingtian did not reveal any flaws on the surface, Lu Rui, as the clan leader of the Lu clan, was not someone to be trifled with. He did not believe Duan Lingtian just because of this. Lu Zheng. Lu Rui continued to stare into Duan Lingtian's eyes as he slowly spat out the 2 words. It was as though he wanted to confirm if Duan Lingtian was the 3rd reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Zheng was the old ancestor who founded the Lu clan 10,000 years ago. He was also an outstanding grade 1 alchemist. He believed if this young man was the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, he would definitely know about the old ancestor of the Lu clan. Lu Zheng. Upon hearing Lu Rui's words, Duan Lingtian was stunned. He had never heard of this name before. When Lu Rui saw the confusion in Duan Lingtian's eyes, he was slightly disappointed. It seems like I've guessed wrongly. Elder Duan shouldn't be the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Zheng. Duan Lingtian's heart skipped a beat. He instinctively searched through the reincarnation Emperor Wu's memories of his 2 lifetimes. In the end, he really found memories related to this name. During the reincarnation Emperor Wu's 2nd lifetime, he liked to wander outside. He had helped and guided many people based on his own interests. Among the few people who left a deep impression on him, one of them was called Lu Zheng. In the reincarnation Emperor Wu's memories, Lu Zheng was quite talented in the medicine refinement Dao. For this reason, he had specially guided him for a period of time. It could be said that they were master and disciple for a period of time. Although the reincarnation Emperor Wu did not officially accept Lu Zheng as his disciple, Lu Zheng still addressed the reincarnation Emperor Wu as his teacher. 10,000 years ago, the reincarnation Emperor Wu cultivated the 3 lives reincarnation technique and the cultivation method of the 3 lives reincarnation technique. Lu Zheng was one of them. When he thought of this, Duan Lingtian could guess many things, including why Lu Rui suddenly asked him if he knew about the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Lu Rui was undoubtedly guessing that he was the 3rd reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. It seems like the person who founded the Lu clan that has a legacy of 10,000 years is Lu Zheng. Also, Lu Zheng left behind some notes and handwritten notes about the reincarnation Emperor Wu in the Lu clan. Chapter 1086. Otherwise, it's impossible for Lu Rui to know about the existence of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. He wouldn't have guessed that I might be the 3rd reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Duan Lingtian thought to himself. Whoosh! Suddenly, the sound of wind whistling entered his ears. Duan Lingtian could not help but raise his head to look. He saw a drop of blood shooting up into the sky, passing through the main hall and disappearing before his eyes in just a blink of an eye. At the same time, a voice entered his ears. I, Lu Rui, swear on my own blood that if I do anything that's detrimental to the 3rd reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, I'll be struck to death by the 99 heavenly tribulation. It was Lu Rui who swore on the 99 heavenly tribulation. Boom! 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 9 claps of thunder resonated in response to Lu Rui's oath. Clan leader, what are you doing? Duan Lingtian was stunned. Could it be that Lu Rui had confirmed that he was the 3rd reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu? That was not right. He had been very careful from the beginning until the end. He was sure he did not reveal any flaws. It's nothing. I just wanted to prove something. However, I don't think you're the person I thought you were. Lu Rui shook his head in response to Duan Lingtian's question. The reason he made such an oath was because he still had hope in his heart. He wanted to verify if Duan Lingtian was the 3rd reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu. Even if he was not, he had already done what he had to do. He would not have any regrets. How do you know I'm not? However, Duan Lingtian asked as soon as Lu Rui finished speaking. Huh? Lu Rui was stunned at first. Then, his eyes lit up, and his breathing quickened again. Elder Duan. Why you mean? You're really the reincarnation Emperor Wu? You can say that. Duan Lingtian nodded indifferently. As long as I, who reincarnated through the 3 lives rebirth technique, cultivate to the Emperor Wu realm again and ascend to the peak of Cloud Continent, then I'll have the qualifications to be called the reincarnation Emperor Wu. 3 lives reincarnation technique. When Lu Rui heard Duan Lingtian mention the 3 lives reincarnation technique, he no longer doubted Duan Lingtian's identity. He was sure that Duan Lingtian was the reincarnation of Emperor Wu's 3rd life. After 10,000 years, the number of people on Cloud Continent who knew about reincarnation Emperor Wu was as few as phoenix feathers and qilin horns. Not to mention the person who could tell the cultivation method of Samsara Emperor Wu. If he hadn't read the letter left behind by the ancestor of the Lu clan, he wouldn't have known about the reincarnation Emperor Wu, let alone the cultivation method that the reincarnation Emperor Wu practiced. He also wouldn't have known that the cultivation method required 3 reincarnations to master. Lu Rui greets Senior. I hope Senior can forgive my rudeness for not knowing Senior's identity. Lu Rui tried his best to suppress the excitement in his heart and bowed at Duan Lingtian. Just call me Elder Duan, like you used to. Duan Lingtian said indifferently. Yes. After finding out that Duan Lingtian was the 3rd reincarnation of the rebirth martial emperor, Lu Rui obeyed Duan Lingtian's every word. He did not dare to hesitate or slack at all. This was because he knew this was a future Emperor Wu powerhouse. As long as he served this young man well, the Lu clan would be protected by an Emperor Wu powerhouse in the future. Perhaps, he might even be able to obtain some other benefits. As the clan leader of Lu clan, he was farsighted. Also, do many people in the Lu clan know about reincarnation Emperor Wu? Duan Lingtian asked. Not many. Upon hearing Duan Lingtian's question, Lu Rui quickly replied, it's about your past. Elder Duan. Our Lu clan's old ancestor, Lu Zheng, has recorded everything in a handbook. Only the clan leader of Lu clan has the right to read it. Alright. Duan Lingtian nodded and warned, it's enough for you to know my identity. Don't tell anyone else. Yes. Lu Rui replied respectfully. Also, I have something that I need your help with. Duan Lingtian remembered the matter that he wanted to talk to Lu Rui about earlier, so he went straight to the point. Please speak, Elder Duan. As long as it's something that the Lu clan and I can do, the Lu clan and I will not hesitate to go through water and tread on fire. Lu Rui said solemnly. Judging from his attitude, he would not even frown even if he was asked to climb a mountain of swords or dive into a sea of fire. You don't have to go through water and tread on fire. Duan Lingtian looked at Lu Rui and asked, your Lu clan should have a profound assimilation formation, right? Yes. Lu Rui nodded. That's good then. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed as he said bluntly, I need you to activate the profound assimilation formation with a large amount of concept fragments. I need to elevate my concept through it. No problem. Lu Rui responded immediately without any hesitation. Concept fragments were nothing to a second-rate force like the Lu clan that was close to a first-rate force. They could get as many as they wanted. Moreover, as long as the Lu clan's disciples were talented in martial Dao and had a shocking comprehension ability, they would be able to elevate their concept through the profound assimilation formation. Also, I need some spirit fruits. As long as it's a spirit fruit that a void stage martial artist can consume, I want it. Duan Lingtian continued. Void stage. Lu Rui was stunned for a moment before he reminded him, Elder Duan, the void stage is divided into, I know that the void stage is divided into 4 levels. What I need are spirit fruits that can be consumed by void prying stage, void initiation stage, void interpretation stage, and void transformation stage martial artists. Duan Lingtian interrupted Lu Rui's words and said, I only need 1 spirit fruit for each of the void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage martial artists. As for the spirit fruits for void transformation stage martial artists, I want as many as you have. He wanted the spirit fruits for void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage martial artists to consume for Xiong Quan. He wanted the spirit fruits for void transformation stage martial artists to consume for himself and Feng Tianwu. Of course, Xiong Quan, who had elevated his cultivation base to the void transformation stage, would be able to use it soon as well. Xiong Quan had already comprehended the advanced sword concept. As long as he had enough spirit fruits, he would be able to break through to the void transformation stage in a short time and become a void transformation stage martial artist. Yes. Although Lu Rui did not know why Duan Lingtian wanted those low-grade spirit fruits, he still agreed to it. Put aside the fact that Duan Lingtian was the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, even if he was not, he would not reject Duan Lingtian's request with Duan Lingtian's medicine refining skills. Go and prepare. Also, don't forget about the soul-stabilizing herb. Duan Lingtian said again. Understood. Lu Rui replied respectfully and turned to leave. Duan Lingtian's eyes gleamed as he looked at Lu Rui's departing figure. A smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. This identity of the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu is quite useful. He knew that even if he did not pretend to be the third reincarnation of the reincarnation Emperor Wu, Lu Rui would not reject his request. However, if that was the case, Lu Rui would definitely not be as attentive as he was now. Right now, in Lu Rui's eyes, I'm the future Emperor Wu powerhouse. If he fawns over me, not only will his Lu clan be protected by me in the future, but he'll also be able to obtain many benefits. It was not difficult for Duan Lingtian to guess Lu Rui's thoughts. This was because he would think the same way if he were in Lu Rui's shoes. Who would not want to fawn over a powerhouse like the Emperor Wu? One had to admit that Lu Rui was very efficient. It only took him an hour before he came again. Elder Duan, these are the spirit fruits that our Lu clan currently has. They're mainly for the void prying stage, void initiation stage, and void interpretation stage martial artists. There's only one spirit fruit for the void transformation stage martial artists. Also, I plan to issue a bounty for the spirit fruits that void transformation stage martial artists consume. Lu Rui said respectfully to Duan Lingtian. At the same time, he handed over an ownerless spatial ring. A bounty? That's not bad. Duan Lingtian took the spatial ring and nodded. He then asked, what are you going to use as a bounty for the spirit fruits that void transformation stage martial artists consume? You must know that those spirit fruits are very valuable. The higher the grade of the spirit fruit, the more valuable it was. The spirit fruits consumed by the void transformation stage martial artists were even more valuable. I'm going to use the grade 1 life recovery pill that you refined as the bounty reward. With the purity of the grade 1 life recovery pill that you refined, the medicinal effect is so shocking that it's enough to make everyone kill for it. Lu Rui revealed his plan. However, I might need you to refine more grade 1 life recovery pills in the future. That's not a problem. Duan Lingtian was very optimistic about Lu Rui's plan. There was no doubt that a grade 1 life recovery pill was something that every martial artist needed. During a critical moment, it might become a life-saving talisman that could save a martial artist's life. Especially the grade 1 life recovery pill that he refined that had a purity of more than 90%. Its medicinal effect was a few times stronger than an ordinary grade 1 life recovery pill. Such a medicinal effect might not be as good as reviving a dead person or regrowing flesh and bones, but it was not too far off. Elder Duan, when do you plan to enter the profound assimilation formation? I've already prepared all the concept fragments that the profound assimilation formation needs. Lu Rui asked again. All right. Duan Lingtian nodded and performed the blood ownership claim on the spatial ring that Lu Rui gave him earlier. Soon after, he saw the spirit fruit that was consumed by the void transformation stage martial artists in the spatial ring. He had never consumed this spirit fruit before, so he did not have to worry about its medicinal effect decreasing. I plan to consume the spirit fruit to cultivate first. I'll look for you to enter the profound assimilation formation after I've finished cultivating. Duan Lingtian told him his plan. Of course, part of the reason he made such a plan was for Xiong Quan's sake. Xiong Quan's current cultivation base was still too weak after all. If he were to enter the profound assimilation formation together with him, Xiong Quan's soul would not be able to withstand the concept energy that filled the profound assimilation formation with his current cultivation base, let alone helping him improve his sword concept. Alright. Right now, Lu Rui would do whatever Duan Lingtian told him to do. He would listen to whatever Duan Lingtian said. If that's the case, I won't disturb your cultivation anymore, Elder Duan. Lu Rui then left sensibly. After Lu Rui left, Duan Lingtian also left the main hall and went to the backyard. Chapter 1087. Spirit Fruits. Xiong Quan was stunned when he took the spatial ring. However, his eyes lit up when he dripped his blood on the spatial ring to claim ownership of it and saw the pile of crystal-clear spirit fruits inside. He was like a hunter who saw his prey. Why, young master, are these spirit fruits for me? Xiong Quan's breathing quickened as he looked at Duan Lingtian and asked. It was his first time seeing so many spirit fruits. Who else would I give them to if not you? Tian Wu and I don't need these spirit fruits anyway. Duan Lingtian said in annoyance. Thank you, young master. Thank you, young master. Although he knew Duan Lingtian would say that, Xiong Quan could not help but feel excited when he heard it. He hurriedly thanked Duan Lingtian. Take the spirit fruits and go back to your room to cultivate. Duan Lingtian said. Yes. Xiong Quan, who was eager to go back to his room to consume the spirit fruits to cultivate, responded respectfully and left when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. With these spirit fruits, his cultivation base would be able to improve rapidly in a short period of time. I'll be able to help young master once my strength has improved. On the way back to his room, Xiong Quan's heart was filled with excitement. If he did not want to continue being a burden behind the young master, he must quickly improve his cultivation base. After Xiong Quan left, Duan Lingtian looked at Feng Tianwu, who was still trying to control her own strength. Tian Wu, I'm going to go into closed-door cultivation for a few days. You'll stay in the mansion for the next few days and don't go out. The coldness on Feng Tianwu's face faded a little when she heard Duan Lingtian's words. She nodded lightly. Tian Wu, who has lost her memory, is completely clueless about how to control her own strength. I'm afraid she'll need some time to master her strength when she was at her peak. After getting Feng Tianwu's agreement, Duan Lingtian glanced at the flames rising on Feng Tianwu's body before he turned around and left. After returning to his room, Duan Lingtian took out a crystal-clear spirit fruit. This spirit fruit was the only spirit fruit that was suitable for void transformation stage martial artists among the pile of spirit fruits that Lu Rui gave him. This spirit fruit seems to be called the red phosphorus fruit. After searching through Emperor Wu's memories, Duan Lingtian soon recognized the spirit fruit in his hand. It was shining with a crimson luster as if it was wrapped in a will-o'-the-wisp. Among the many spirit fruits consumed by void transformation martial artists, the red phosphorus fruit can only be ranked in the middle. It's very difficult for an ordinary 6th level void transformation martial artist to break through to the 7th level void transformation after consuming it. Duan Lingtian raised his eyebrows and muttered to himself, after all, the gap between the 6th level void transformation and the 7th level void transformation is like a chasm that's extremely difficult to cross. However, that's only for an ordinary 6th level void transformation martial artist. For example, although I'm also a 6th level void transformation martial artist, after consuming this red phosphorus fruit, I can activate the domineering medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill that's hidden in my body and help me to break through to the 7th level void transformation easily. Duan Lingtian did not doubt this at all. On top of that, with the reward issued by the Lu clan, I think it won't take long for me to obtain enough spirit fruits to raise my cultivation base to the 9th level void transformation. As for concepts, as long as I have the profound assimilation formation and a large number of concept fragments, I'll be able to comprehend all of them to the 9th level advance. The moment he thought of this, Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up. It was as though he could already see the scene when his strength was raised to the peak of the void. As long as my cultivation base breaks through to the 9th level void transformation, I'll be able to use the profundity fragment to help any concept to transform into a profundity when it reaches the 9th level advance. At that time, I'll only need to continue consuming spirit fruits and my cultivation base will break through to the martial monarch stage in one go. As soon as I break through to the martial monarch stage and become a martial monarch powerhouse, the medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill will be completely unleashed. At that time, my cultivation base will enter a period of rapid improvement. The more Duan Lingtian thought about this, the brighter his eyes shone. Even until now, the medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill was still limited. Most of it was hidden in his body and would occasionally extend a gush of medicinal efficacy to help him raise his cultivation base. However, during this process, although his advancement was faster than an ordinary void transformation martial artist, it was still extremely slow. As soon as his cultivation base broke through to the martial monarch stage, the medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill would enter a whole new period of explosive growth. At that time, he would only need to compare himself with other martial monarch powerhouses. It's time to start cultivating. After taking a deep breath, Duan Lingtian calmed his surging emotions and swallowed the red phosphorus fruit in his hand, allowing it to transform into medicinal efficacy that merged into his body. At the same time, Duan Lingtian could clearly sense that the medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill hidden in the depths of his dantian had a reaction. Soon, the medicinal efficacy of the rebirth pill and the red phosphorus fruit merged together and urged his origin energy to circulate at lightning speed around his meridians. 9 Dragons War Sovereign Technique, Roving Dragon Form. Without any hesitation, Duan Lingtian circulated his mental cultivation method and closed his eyes at the same time to meditate and cultivate. Unknowingly, 3 concept fragments appeared in his hand. If there was another person here, he or she would definitely be shocked to see that the 3 concept fragments in Duan Lingtian's hand were 3 completely different concept fragments. Holding 3 different concept fragments at the same time and comprehending 3 different concepts without any pressure at all. If news of this were to spread out, it would be enough to shock all the martial artists on Cloud Continent. This was because in the long history of Cloud Continent, there had never been such a human or demon beast. Not to mention comprehending 3 different concepts with the help of 3 different concept fragments. Even in the history of Cloud Continent, there had never been a person who could comprehend 2 different concepts by relying on 2 different concept fragments. 3 different concepts. Duan Lingtian's mind was immersed in the 3 different concept fragments as he sensed their profundity to his heart's content. He intended to master them and improve the concept he comprehended. At the same time, the origin energy in his body was not idle. Under the dual effects of the rebirth pill and the red phosphorus fruit, it was improving at an extremely fast speed. While Duan Lingtian was cultivating, the entire Lu clan was in an uproar. No. It was not just the Lu clan. In the vast estate controlled by the Lu clan where the Lu clan's estate was located, a shocking piece of news spread out and shocked everyone who heard the news. After the Lu clan issued a bounty with a shocking reward last time, they issued another bounty with a shocking reward. There was a small village 1,000 miles north of the Lu clan's estate. Although the village was small, it was extremely lively. This was because this village was the only place within 10,000 miles north of the Lu clan's estate that had a restaurant. Although there was only one restaurant, it was packed with people all day long and was extremely lively. Hey! Did you guys hear? The Lu clan issued another bounty with a shocking reward. A sturdy man who had just entered the restaurant and sat down at a table said with a grin. Lu clan. Bounty? His words immediately attracted many people's attention. Most of these eyes were filled with curiosity. What reward? What bounty? Soon, someone could not help but ask. Humph. Before the sturdy man could reply, someone snorted coldly and said disdainfully, since the bounty the Lu clan issued this time has a shocking reward. In terms of difficulty, it's definitely not inferior to the bounty they issued last time. I've heard about the bounty the Lu clan issued last time. It seems to be about finding a stalk of grass. However, the characteristics of that grass are extremely unique. I've never heard of anyone who has seen that grass before. For a mere stalk of grass, the Lu clan even promised a grade 1 spirit weapon and 10 grade 1 life recovery pills. Many people in our northern mountain land have been alerted and are looking for that grass like crazy. Soon after, many people chimed in. I wonder if the Lu clan issued such a bounty on purpose to prank us. I know many people, and some of them are well-traveled people. However, all of them said they've never seen that grass before. A middle-aged man suddenly said. Humph. The Lu clan is one of the 2 most powerful clans in our northern mountain land. They're also a noble clan of alchemists. Why would they prank us for no reason? Soon after, someone refuted the middle-aged man. The Lu clan has a good reputation in our northern mountain land since 10,000 years ago. It's impossible for them to prank us. Many people chimed in. What's the bounty the Lu clan issued this time? Someone asked the sturdy man who started the conversation. Ha! Speaking of which, the bounty the Lu clan issued this time is much simpler than the previous bounty. The sturdy man said as he drank. Oh! Many people's interest was piqued when they heard the sturdy man's words. They remembered the sturdy man had said that the reward for the Lu clan's bounty this time was shocking as well. A reward that could be described as shocking must be something good. It was enough to tempt them. This time, the Lu clan has issued a public bounty for void transformation stage martial artists. There's no limit to the number and type of spirit fruits. The sturdy man did not beat around the bush and said directly. That's it. The sturdy man's words stunned everyone present. They found it unbelievable. In their opinion, although the spirit fruit consumed by a void transformation stage martial artist was precious, it was not a rare item. In fact, some of them had consumed them before. That's right. That's it. The sturdy man nodded. What reward did the Lu clan offer? Everyone present was most concerned about this. The Lu clan announced that any martial artist who offers the Lu clan a spirit fruit consumed by void transformation stage martial artists will be rewarded with a grade 1 life recovery pill. The sturdy man said. The moment the sturdy man's words left his mouth, the scene fell silent. Chapter 1088. A grade 1 life recovery pill. Soon after, someone said with a mocking smile, what a Lu clan. What a wishful thinking. They want to exchange a mere grade 1 life recovery pill for a void transformation stage martial artist spirit fruit. Although a grade 1 life recovery pill was precious, its value was still far from the spirit fruit consumed by a void transformation stage martial artist. Everyone knew about this. The Lu clan actually issued such a bounty. Do they really think we're idiots? I'm afraid only idiots would use a void transformation stage martial artist's spirit fruit to exchange for a mere grade 1 life recovery pill. If I bring a void transformation stage martial artist's spirit fruit to the northern mountain city's black market, I can at least exchange it for 3 grade 1 life recovery pills. A commotion broke out in the restaurant. Everyone felt the Northern Mountains Lu clan was scamming them by issuing such a bounty. Big guy, is a mere grade 1 life recovery pill the shocking reward you're talking about? Someone looked at the sturdy man and mocked him. Although a grade 1 life recovery pill is precious, it can't be considered shocking. Another person looked at the sturdy man and said. At once, the sturdy man became everyone's target. Humph. The sturdy man snorted coldly in the face of the mockery and ridicule from the people in the restaurant. He said in disdain, "What do you know? If it's just an ordinary grade 1 life recovery pill, would I say it's a shocking reward?" The sturdy man's voice overpowered the mockery and ridicule from the people in the restaurant. Everyone could not help but be stunned. "What do you mean by that?" "That's right. What do you mean by an ordinary grade 1 life recovery pill? Don't tell me you're trying to say the grade 1 life recovery pill that the Northern Mountains Lu clan took out is not an ordinary grade 1 life recovery pill?" "Humph. Including the Northern Mountains Lu clan, all the grade 1 life recovery pills circulating in the entire southern outer land are made by Guild Master Cheng from the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land." Many people voiced their opinions and refuted the sturdy man. All the grade 1 life recovery pills circulating in the southern outer land are made by the guild master of the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land? The burly man smiled brightly. "I say, isn't your news a little too outdated? Don't tell me you haven't heard that the Lu clan has a new grade 1 alchemist not long ago." "I remember now. The Lu clan's first interim elder who was the talk of the town not long ago is a grade 1 alchemist. Now that the Lu clan has their own grade 1 alchemist, there's no need for them to look for Guild Master Cheng to refine grade 1 pills." Soon after, someone regained his senses and recalled the Lu clan already had a grade 1 alchemist of their own. "The Lu clan has a grade 1 alchemist?" Immediately, some of the people who had just left home were shocked. This was the first time they had heard of this news. So what if the Lu clan had their own grade 1 alchemist? Don't tell me the grade 1 life recovery pill he refined is better than the one refined by Guild Master Cheng from our Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land? The grade 1 medicinal pills refined by Guild Master Cheng often have a purity of 70% and above. It's not easy to refine medicinal pills that are better than the medicinal pills refined by him. That's right. Even if the Lu clan has their own grade 1 alchemist, it's impossible for him to be better than Guild Master Cheng, let alone refine medicinal pills that are better than the medicinal pills refined by Guild Master Cheng. Many people spoke up again. Based on their words, it was obvious that they were full of respect for Guild Master Cheng from the Alchemist Guild's main guild in the southern outer land. What a frog in a well. The sturdy man glared coldly at the group of people who looked down on the Lu clan's grade 1 alchemist master and said slowly, enunciating each word clearly. His voice was loud and clear, easily suppressing the discussion of the crowd. At once, everyone shifted their attention to him again. Many people's eyes seemed as though they were about to spit fire. "Frog in a well? Then I'd like to hear you tell me how we're frog in a well." A middle-aged man was so angry that he stood up from his seat. He glared at the sturdy man and said in a deep voice, "If you can't give me a good reason today, I'll make you bleed." The moment his words left his mouth, a domineering aura swept out from the middle-aged man's body, causing the people around him to feel pressured. A powerhouse at the peak of the void. Soon after, someone could not help but exclaim. At once, everyone looked at the middle-aged man with dread in their eyes. They regarded him as a scourge as though they were afraid he would swallow them whole. However, their eyes quickly shifted away from the middle-aged man who was at the peak of the void and landed on the sturdy man in unison. "I'm afraid this fellow is going to be unlucky. If he can't give me a good reason today, this powerhouse at the peak of the void will definitely not let him go. How dare he say we're frog in a well and offend everyone the moment he opens his mouth? He's seeking death. I'd like to see what he has to say." The crowd discussed among themselves. They all thought the sturdy man was going to be unlucky. Through the aura emitted from the middle-aged man's body, the sturdy man could not help but feel dread when he sensed the middle-aged man was at the peak of the void. However, the dread in his eyes soon disappeared, and he became fearless. "All of you are saying that Elder Duan from the Lu clan is inferior to Guild Master Cheng. I wonder if any of you have witnessed Elder Duan refining pills with your own eyes, or have you obtained a grade 1 pill refined by Elder Duan and compared it with Guild Master Cheng's grade 1 pill? The sturdy man asked as he looked at the crowd. Everyone looked at each other, but no one made a sound. Although this was the first time many of them had heard of an elder Duan from the Lu clan. However, it was easy for them to connect the elder Duan mentioned by the sturdy man to the grade 1 alchemist master from the Lu clan. Therefore, nobody thought it was strange. However, they collectively remained silent in the face of the sturdy man's question. None of them had seen the grade 1 alchemist master from Lu clan before, let alone witnessing him refining pills with their own eyes. They had never come into contact with the grade 1 pills refined by the other party, so they had no way of comparing them. What? You have nothing to say? The sturdy man sneered and mocked, you don't know anything, and yet you're talking nonsense about the Lu clan's elder Duan? What a joke. The sturdy man's words caused everyone's faces to turn pale. Humph. Based on what you said, the grade 1 alchemist master from the Lu clan must be very skilled in refining medicine. I'd like to hear how miraculous the grade 1 life recovery pill he refined is to be praised so highly by you. That's right. As the saying goes, all talk and no action. If you're so capable, tell us how high the purity of the grade 1 life recovery pill refined by the Lu clan's elder is. Since the Lu clan dares to be so thick-skinned as to exchange it for a void transformation stage martial artist's spirit fruit. Don't tell me the purity of the grade 1 life recovery pill he refined is above 75%. Soon after, the crowd regained their senses and questioned the sturdy man, unwilling to be left behind. In their opinion, a grade 1 life recovery pill that was worth as much as a void transformation stage martial artist's spirit fruit had to have a purity of at least 75%. This was because only a grade 1 life recovery pill with a purity of 75% or above would have a better effect than a grade 1 life recovery pill with a purity of 70% or below. Only a grade 1 life recovery pill like that would be worth as much as a void transformation stage martial artist's spirit fruit. Moreover, they did not think the Lu clan's grade 1 alchemist elder would be able to refine a grade 1 life recovery pill with a purity of 75% or above. On Cloud Continent, let alone the outer land where they were, even in the inner land, a grade 1 alchemist who could refine a grade 1 life recovery pill with a purity of 75% or above was as rare as a phoenix feather or a Qilin horn. A purity of 75% or above. Upon hearing the crowd's words, the sturdy man was stunned for a moment before he burst out laughing. He seemed to have lost control of his emotions and could not stop laughing for a long time. Ha 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 ha, ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Waves of laughter filled the restaurant, causing the faces of the people in the restaurant to turn even gloomier. Are you done laughing? Finally, the middle-aged man who was at the peak of the void asked coldly. His voice was as loud as thunder and suppressed the sturdy man's laughter. At this moment, the sturdy man finally stopped laughing. What are you laughing at? The middle-aged man asked in a deep voice as his eyes gleamed coldly. Of course, I'm laughing at them for being narrow-minded. The sturdy man glanced at the middle-aged man fearfully before he looked at the others and said rudely. Then, I'd like to hear how narrow-minded they are. The middle-aged man stared at the sturdy man and asked word by word while the crowd was furious. Do you think the Lu clan is taking out a grade 1 life recovery pill to exchange for a spirit fruit for a void transformation stage martial artist because the person who exchanged the spirit fruit will suffer a loss? Do all of you think only a grade 1 life recovery pill with a purity of 75% or above is worth as much as a void transformation stage martial artist's spirit fruit? The burly man looked around and asked two questions to the people in the restaurant. Although the crowd did not speak, their eyes undoubtedly acknowledged this point. Very good. Seeing that the crowd did not deny it, the sturdy man narrowed his eyes and told them everything he heard without holding back. Then, I'll tell all of you. According to the news from the Lu clan, the grade 1 life recovery pill that the Lu clan is exchanging for a void transformation stage martial artist's spirit fruit has a purity of 90% or above. 90%. The moment the sturdy man's words left his mouth, the restaurant that had already quieted down fell into a dead silence. Even the powerhouse at the peak of the void who was staring at the sturdy man covetously stood rooted to the ground. He was stunned. Chapter 1089. 90%. 90%. The sturdy man's voice reverberated in the minds of the people in the restaurant. They were so shocked that they did not regain their senses for a long time. A grade 1 life recovery pill. 90% purity. Soon after, someone regained his senses. He looked at the sturdy man and snorted, "You're not bluffing, are you? A grade 1 life recovery pill with 90% purity. Even those grade 1 alchemists in the inner land might not be able to refine it. More than 90% purity. What a joke. I don't care if you believe it or not. I don't believe it. I don't believe it either." The people in the restaurant regained their senses and began to discuss among themselves. Based on their words, it was obvious they did not believe the sturdy man's words. At this moment, the powerhouse at the peak of the void standing in front of the sturdy man was also glaring at him. His domineering aura swept out again and pressed down on the sturdy man's body. Barf! The sturdy man who was caught off guard was suppressed by the aura until his vital energy and blood surged in his body. He immediately spat out a mouthful of blood, and his face turned extremely pale. However, although he was injured, he did not dare to show any signs of anger. Who knew if he would anger the powerhouse at the peak of the void in front of him? If the powerhouse killed him, he would have no one to complain about his injustice. "Is what you said true?" The powerhouse at the peak of the void asked in a deep voice. "Of course it's true." Although the powerhouse had injured him, the sturdy man did not dare to ignore the powerhouse. He hastily said, "The reward came from the Lu clan. They're offering a grade 1 life recovery pill with 90% purity in exchange for a void transformation stage martial artist's spirit fruit." The moment the sturdy man's words left his mouth, the people in the restaurant fell silent again. They could see it. The sturdy man did not seem like he was lying. The Lu clan is an ancient clan that has a history of 10,000 years in the northern mountain land. It's impossible for them to make a false promise. Someone muttered after a while. Indeed. An ancient clan like the Lu clan values their reputation the most. If they don't have a grade 1 life recovery pill with 90% purity or more, they wouldn't make such a promise. Many people nodded in agreement. In the northern mountain land, regardless of whether it was the alchemist clan, the Lu clan, or the weapons craftsman clan, the O clan, both of them were ancient clans that had existed for 10,000 years. The two great clans had always placed great importance on their reputation. Their reputation in the northern mountain land was very good. "You're right, but isn't that grade 1 life recovery pill with a purity of 90% and above a little too exaggerated?" Someone smiled bitterly. "Yeah, it's too exaggerated. As far as I know, even the grade 1 alchemist who founded the Lu clan 10,000 years ago, the person who's widely acknowledged as the most outstanding alchemist in the northern mountain land for the past 10,000 years, the grade 1 pills he refined only have 80% purity at most." "I've heard of this before. That's what the rumors say." Everyone in the restaurant was in a heated discussion. Most of them still found it hard to believe. If the Lu clan can really produce a grade 1 life recovery pill with more than 90% purity, then the person who refined such a grade 1 life recovery pill must be the grade 1 alchemist elder who joined the Lu clan not long ago. Suddenly, someone couldn't help but guess. "I heard that the grade 1 alchemist is a young man who's not even 30 years old yet," someone else said. However, the moment his words left his mouth, it was like a stone that caused 1,000 ripples. "What? Not even 30 years old yet? A grade 1 alchemist who's not even 30 years old yet?" The entire restaurant was in an uproar at once. Most of the people present had only heard that the Lu clan had a new Grade 1 alchemist elder recently. They did not know that the Grade 1 alchemist elder was a young man who was not even 30 years old yet. A Grade 1 alchemist who was not even 30 years old was just like a Grade 1 life recovery pill with more than 90% purity. It was enough to shock them from the bottom of their hearts. It's actually not difficult to verify the authenticity of this. All you have to do is bring a void transformation stage martial artist spirit fruit to the Lu clan to exchange for it. Then, everything will be clear. Soon after, someone suggested. That's right. The others nodded in agreement. No matter if it was a donkey or a horse, they would only know after taking it out for a walk. In the Lu clan's estate. Crackle, crackle, in the master bedroom of a spacious mansion in the east, the crisp sound of bones rubbing against each other suddenly resonated. The sound was exceptionally pleasant to the ears. A young man who had just gotten out of bed was stretching his arms and legs in front of the bed. The sound came from his body. The young man wore a purple robe. He had dashing eyebrows and bright eyes. He was extraordinarily handsome. At this moment, there was a faint smile on his handsome face. If there was a second person here, that person would definitely feel as though they were bathing in the spring breeze when they saw the smile on his face. The bottleneck to the 8th level void transformation stage is also out. All I need is a void transformation stage martial artist's spirit fruit to successfully break through to the 8th level void transformation stage. After breaking through to the 8th level void transformation stage, I only need one spirit fruit to break through to the 9th level void transformation stage. The purple-clad young man raised his eyebrows and muttered to himself. This purple-clad young man was none other than Duan Lingtian, who had successfully broken through to the next level after consuming the red phosphorus fruit. However, my concept has not improved at all in these few days. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself as he stretched out his hands and opened his palms. All of a sudden, Duan Lingtian's hands shook and clenched into fists. Boom! In an instant, a milky white flame soared up from his body. The flame was fierce and shot up into the sky as though it was going to pierce through the ceiling of the room above him. As the milky white flame soared up, waves of rolling airwaves swept out, causing the tables and cabinets in the room to shake as though there was an earthquake. Whoosh! At the same time, above Duan Lingtian's head, the heaven and earth energy stirred and gathered into the heaven and earth phenomenon. In the next moment, 1,000 silhouettes of ancient horned dragons appeared. They meandered down, looking lifelike. Just the origin energy alone was equivalent to the strength of 1,000 ancient horned dragons. This was the symbol of a 7th level void transformation stage martial artist. In the past, when I used the quasi-royal grade spirit sword and unleashed my full strength, my strength was equivalent to the strength of 3,500 ancient horned dragons. Duan Lingtian recalled. Not long ago, my sword concept rose from the 5th level advanced stage to the 8th level advanced stage. My strength rose along with it, and it was equivalent to the strength of 3,800 ancient horned dragons. Now, my cultivation base has broken through from the 6th level void transformation stage to the 7th level void transformation stage. Due to the fact that there's a divide between the two, my origin energy has increased by 200 ancient horned dragon strength after the transformation. Coupled with the doubled boost from the quasi-royal grade spirit sword. Now that I've unleashed all my techniques and unleashed my full strength, it's equivalent to the strength of 4,200 ancient horned dragons. At this moment, Duan Lingtian had a whole new understanding of his strength. Now, I can even defeat an ordinary powerhouse at the peak of the void. Unknowingly, a confident and brilliant smile appeared on Duan Lingtian's face. I wonder how Tian Wu has mastered her own strength now. Duan Lingtian's heart jolted. He immediately walked out of the room and went to the backyard. Tian Wu isn't here. When he arrived at the backyard, Duan Lingtian did not see Feng Tianwu. He only found out after asking the servant girl that Feng Tianwu had not come to the backyard since the day before yesterday. She had been staying in her room all this while. Elder Duan. Just when Duan Lingtian was about to leave the backyard, he noticed servant Xiao Yun was rushing towards him. Duan Lingtian looked at servant Xiao Yun in confusion. Elder Duan, Chow Chow. Chow Chow is waiting for you in the main hall. Servant Xiao Yun said while gasping for breath after she arrived near Duan Lingtian. Chow Chow. Duan Lingtian was stunned at first before he realized the Chow Chow that servant Xiao Yun mentioned was the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. The corner of his mouth twitched imperceptibly. Could it be that the clan leader has offered a reward for the spirit fruit that a void transformation stage martial artist consumes? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up immediately. He hurriedly left the backyard and rushed to the main hall. I wonder how many spirit fruits the patriarch has offered as a reward for void transformation stage martial artists. If the reward is 2 that I haven't consumed before, then that would be awesome. So long as I'm given a period of time, my cultivation will break through to the 9th level of the void transformation stage in one go. Duan Lingtian thought to himself as he made his way there. Soon after, Duan Lingtian arrived at the main hall and met the clan leader of Lu clan, Lu Rui. Elder Duan. Lu Rui bowed respectfully when he met Duan Lingtian in private. He knew very well. As long as the young man in front of him did not die prematurely, he would definitely become a powerhouse like Emperor Wu in the future. Due to this reason, he did not dare to slight the young man. Clan leader, did you come to see me because you found the reward? Duan Lingtian asked while suppressing the excitement in his heart. Yes. Lu Rui nodded. How many? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up. He could no longer suppress his excitement and asked excitedly. How many? However, Lu Rui was stunned when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. He looked at Duan Lingtian in a daze. He did not know why Duan Lingtian would ask such a question. Didn't you say that you found the location of the spirit fruit? Duan Lingtian could not help but be stunned as well. Lu Rui finally understood why Duan Lingtian would ask such a question when he heard Duan Lingtian's question. Elder Duan, it's not that we found the location of the spirit fruit, but we found the reward that you asked me to send out earlier. The reward that you sent out earlier? Duan Lingtian did not realize it at first. However, he finally recalled it in a blink of an eye. He asked excitedly, Clan leader, you mean? We found the location of the soul-stabilizing grass. The soul-stabilizing grass. It was the heaven and earth treasure that could help Feng Tianwu recover her memory. In Duan Lingtian's opinion, the soul-stabilizing grass was undoubtedly much more important than the spirit fruit that void transformation martial artists consumed. There were many of the latter on Cloud Continent. It was not difficult to find them. Chapter 1090. Yes. Lu Rui nodded. Someone came to visit our Lu clan today. He said he saw the soul-stabilizing grass in a remote mountain range. Did that person bring the soul-stabilizing grass? Where is he now? Duan Lingtian's eyes lit up when he heard Lu Rui's words. His breathing quickened involuntarily. That person didn't bring the soul-stabilizing grass with him. Lu Rui shook his head in the face of Duan Lingtian's anticipation. His words were like a bucket of cold water that splashed Duan Lingtian's head. It made Duan Lingtian wake up completely. He didn't bring the soul-stabilizing grass with him. Duan Lingtian frowned in confusion. Yes. Lu Rui nodded. I heard from that person that there's a demon that can transform into a human guarding the soul-stabilizing grass in that remote mountain range. He's not a match for that demon, so he can't take the soul-stabilizing grass. Demon? Duan Lingtian's frown deepened. Is that demon very powerful? In the entire Cloud Continent, the soul-stabilizing grass could be considered as an extremely rare treasure of heaven and earth. It was not strange that the place where it grew was guarded by a powerful demon. I heard from that person that the demon's strength is almost at the peak of the void, Lu Rui said nonchalantly. Lu Rui said nonchalantly, a demon at the peak of the void is nothing. I'm going to ask Elder Ji to follow him to the mountain range to retrieve the soul-stabilizing herb. Duan Lingtian naturally knew who Elder Ji was. He was one of the 3 guardian elders of the Lu clan. In the past, when he had just arrived at the Lu clan, he had met Lu Ji once. However, he did not see him again after he joined the Lu clan. However, I haven't asked Elder Ji to follow that person to retrieve the soul-stabilizing grass. According to what I know, it's best to refine many herbs as soon as they're plucked. Only in that way can we fully display its medicinal properties. Lu Rui voiced his concerns. Elder Duan, is there a need to pay attention to the soul-stabilizing grass? If not, I will immediately go find Elder Ji and ask him to go with that person and retrieve the soul-stabilizing grass. It's normal for you to have such concerns. However, you're only talking about ordinary herbs. Soul-stabilizing grass can't be compared to ordinary herbs. Duan Lingtian said. The soul-stabilizing grass and the immortal spirit grass he obtained from Emperor Wu's secret treasure were not ordinary herbs. Of course, compared to the soul-stabilizing grass, the immortal spirit grass was much more precious. The immortal spirit grass was, after all, a legendary herb. Even the reincarnation Emperor Wu had never seen one in his 2 lifetimes. As for the soul-stabilizing grass, reincarnation Emperor Wu had seen it a few times. In that case, I'll go find Elder Ji now. After Lu Rui finished speaking, he turned around and prepared to leave. Patriarch. At this moment, Duan Lingtian stopped Lu Rui. Is there anything else, Elder Duan? If it's about the soul-stabilizing grass, you can rest assured. If Elder Ji makes a move, it won't be difficult for him to obtain the soul-stabilizing grass. Lu Rui looked at Duan Lingtian with a puzzled expression before he reassured Duan Lingtian. Patriarch, I don't doubt Elder Ji's strength. I just want to go with Elder Ji to retrieve the soul-stabilizing grass. Duan Lingtian revealed his plan. He had been staying in the Lu clan's mansion recently. Coupled with the fact that he had been cultivating for the past few days, he wanted to go out and relax. Of course, most importantly, he wanted to see if there were any other heaven and earth treasures in the place where the soul-stabilizing grass grew. According to the reincarnation Emperor Wu's memory, the soul-stabilizing grass is an extremely rare herb. The place where the soul-stabilizing grass grows must have a good environment. That kind of environment is suitable for many heaven and earth treasures to grow. Duan Lingtian's heart skipped a beat. His eyes lit up, and a hint of anticipation appeared on his face. In his opinion, he had been very lucky ever since he came to the Lu clan. First, he obtained the soul-fixing root from the Lu clan. Then, he obtained news of the soul-stabilizing grass. This time, he was going to retrieve the soul-stabilizing grass with Lu Ji. Perhaps, he might really encounter other heaven and earth treasures. Elder Duan, you're going with us. Lu Rui was stunned. Why? Is there a problem? Duan Lingtian asked. There's no problem. I'm just concerned about your safety, Elder Duan. Unfortunately, Elder Yuan and Elder Gui went out a few days ago. They'll only be back in half a month. When Lu Rui reached this part of the sentence, he said with a worried expression on his face. Isn't there still Elder Ji? Duan Lingtian felt warm in his heart. He shook his head and said with a smile, with Elder Ji around, are you still worried that something will happen to me? Besides, is there anyone who dares to offend the Lu clan in the northern mountain land? Duan Lingtian felt Lu Rui's concern had caused him to panic. However, he could understand why Lu Rui would do that. After all, in Lu Rui's eyes, not only was he a grade 1 alchemist who could refine grade 1 pills with more than 90% purity, but he was also a future martial monarch powerhouse. He could not afford to lose him. That's true. Lu Rui nodded awkwardly when he heard Duan Lingtian's words. He also realized he had caused himself to panic. In the northern mountain land, only the O clan was qualified to be compared to the Lu clan. The other second-rate forces were not even enough to fill the gaps between the Lu clan's teeth. Those second-rate forces only had one martial monarch powerhouse each. Their strength was not comparable to any of the three great guardian elders of the Lu clan. I'll go with you. When Duan Lingtian and Lu Rui walked out of the main hall together, a cold voice entered their ears. They could not help but shudder. When they turned their heads to look, they saw a silhouette that looked like a fire elf standing nearby. It was a red-clad lady with a face that could topple a nation. The only flaw was that her face seemed to be covered with a layer of frost. Her entire body was emitting a cold aura that repelled people thousands of miles away. Even if it was just a short sentence, it seemed to be able to freeze the air around her. Tian Wu. With just a glance, Duan Lingtian recognized the red-clad lady. He asked in surprise, "Why did you come out?" "I'll go with you." Feng Tianwu did not answer Duan Lingtian's question. She repeated what she said earlier. Her tone was still indifferent, but it was not as cold as before. "Let's go together if you want to." Duan Lingtian smiled. "All right." After receiving Duan Lingtian's consent, Feng Tianwu, who was emitting a cold aura, flew forward and followed Duan Lingtian like a shadow. "You must be Miss Tian Wu, right? I'm Lu Rui, the clan leader of Lu clan." Lu Rui greeted Feng Tianwu with a smile. Although he had seen Feng Tianwu in the past, Feng Tianwu was lying in the ice coffin. They did not have any interaction at all. Now that he saw Feng Tianwu in person, he did not dare to neglect her. This was because he had learned about Feng Tianwu from Duan Lingtian's servant girl. He knew that the soul-fixing root and soul-stabilizing grass that Elder Duan was looking for were for her. It was obvious that Elder Duan valued this lady a lot. Naturally, he did not dare to neglect her. This lady might become Emperor Wu's woman in the future. She was not someone he could offend. However, Feng Tianwu completely ignored Lu Rui when he took the initiative to greet her. She did not even raise her eyebrows. She completely ignored Lu Rui. Lu Rui felt a little awkward at that moment. "Elder Duan, let's go look for Elder Ji." In order to cover up the awkwardness, Lu Rui quickly greeted Duan Lingtian and led the way out of the mansion. "Tian Wu, let's go as well." Duan Lingtian called out to Feng Tianwu and followed Lu Rui. Feng Tianwu did not reply. She merely followed Duan Lingtian silently as though she was Duan Lingtian's shadow. Soon after, Duan Lingtian met Lu Ji, one of the three Lu clan's guardian elders, under Lu Rui's lead. "Elder Duan." When Lu Ji saw Duan Lingtian again, he greeted Duan Lingtian enthusiastically. There was a hint of respect in the depth of this old man's eyes. It was respect for Duan Lingtian. A few days ago, he had already found out that this Elder Duan could refine grade 1 pills with a purity of 90% and above. It could be said that he was utterly impressed by him. "Elder Ji." Duan Lingtian also greeted Lu Ji with a smile on his face. "This must be Miss Tian Wu, right?" Lu Ji's eyes quickly landed on Feng Tianwu, who was standing next to Duan Lingtian. He greeted Feng Tianwu with a smile. Upon seeing this, the corner of Lu Rui's mouth twitched slightly. A smirk appeared on his face. In his opinion, Feng Tianwu would ignore Elder Ji just like how she ignored him earlier. Elder Ji was destined to be defeated. However, the smile on his face soon froze. "You're very strong." He noticed that Feng Tianwu had spoken. She had spoken to Lu Ji. The scene before his eyes completely shattered the illusion in his heart. "Thank you for your compliment, Miss Tian Wu." Upon hearing Feng Tianwu's words, Lu Ji replied politely. It was obvious he knew the relationship between Feng Tianwu and Duan Lingtian was close. "Elder Ji, you'll go with Elder Duan and Miss Tian Wu this time," At this moment, Lu Rui looked at Lu Ji and told him everything that had happened. No problem. Lu Ji agreed right away. He then looked at Duan Lingtian. Congratulations, Elder Duan. You've found what you want. We haven't gotten the thing yet. Duan Lingtian shook his head lightly and said, we should depart as soon as possible. I'm afraid something might happen if we delay. I can depart now, Lu Ji said. All right. I'll bring you to that person and ask him to bring you to the soul-stabilizing herb. Upon hearing the urgency in Duan Lingtian's voice, Lu Rui did not hesitate and went straight to the point. He brought the three Duan Lingtian and Duan Lingtian to the place where the informant was placed. Soon after, a short, wretched-looking middle-aged man with a missing front tooth appeared before Duan Lingtian. Third-level void transformation. Duan Lingtian's spiritual energy immediately probed the wretched-looking middle-aged man's cultivation base. Wow! Beautiful! The wretched-looking middle-aged man's gaze swept past Duan Lingtian, Lu Rui, and Lu Ji before it landed on Feng Tianwu. He could no longer move his gaze away as he cried out loudly. I'll gouge your eyes out if you keep looking. Chapter 1091. However, the wretched-looking middle-aged man did not seem to hear Feng Tianwu's words. He continued to look at Feng Tianwu's beautiful face without restraint. Just as Feng Tianwu's eyes turned cold and was about to make a move, bang! A loud sound reverberated in the air. Feng Tianwu only saw a flash before the wretched-looking middle-aged man's eyes before he was sent flying. A figure that looked like purple lightning followed closely behind. A moment later, the wretched-looking middle-aged man fell to the ground. He was struggling to stand up when his vision turned black. He could only see a foot stomping on his face. He did not have time to react at all. Boom! Duan Lingtian stomped on the wretched-looking middle-aged man's head to the ground. No matter how the wretched-looking middle-aged man struggled, he was still as steady as Mount Tai. Duan Lingtian's face was covered in coldness just like Feng Tianwu's face, and his eyes flickered with a fierce light. Ever since Feng Tianwu went berserk for him and was willing to activate the fire spirit body's energy in her body, he had completely accepted Feng Tianwu. He even treated Feng Tianwu as his woman. How could he tolerate someone profaning his woman now? If it was not for the fact that this person was still useful to him, he would have stomped on this person's head until it exploded. Feng Tianwu's heart trembled slightly when she saw the scene before her. A sense of happiness rose in her heart. Perhaps my relationship with him in the past was really special. Feng Tianwu muttered to herself. Clan leader Lu, I want him dead. I want him dead. At this moment, the wretched-looking middle-aged man whose head was being stomped on by Duan Lingtian realized he could not break free from Duan Lingtian's grip. He looked at Duan Lingtian in the distance. If he doesn't die, I'll never tell you the whereabouts of the herb. The wretched-looking middle-aged man roared. A grade 1 spirit weapon and 10 grade 1 life recovery pills. Now, the grade 1 spirit weapon is gone. Duan Lingtian exerted force with his foot and stomped half of the wretched middle-aged man's head into the soil. He then said lightly. When the wretched middle-aged man heard Duan Lingtian's words, he was stunned. This is Elder Duan. Our Lu clan was the one who posted the reward on his behalf. He was the one who gave the promised reward as well. Lu Rui looked at the wretched middle-aged man with pity and said slowly. You. If you don't give me a grade 1 spirit weapon, I won't bring you to look for that grass. The wretched middle-aged man's eyes flickered with a fierce light. After spitting out a few mouthfuls of sand that he had accidentally eaten, he threatened fiercely. When I used to kick a watermelon, I could break it with one kick. However, I have never kicked a person's head before. I don't know which one is harder than a watermelon. Duan Lingtian muttered to himself as he stepped on the head of the wretched middle-aged man. No. No. Hearing Duan Lingtian's muttering, the wretched middle-aged man's expression changed drastically. He shouted in horror, "I'll take you there. I'll take you there." He was really afraid that this young man who was much more powerful than him would kick his head like a watermelon. With this young man's strength, he would definitely die with just one kick. "Didn't you say that you won't take me there?" Duan Lingtian asked nonchalantly. There was a hint of coldness in his tone. It was bone-chilling. I was joking. That's right. I was joking." Sensing the coldness in Duan Lingtian's tone, the wretched middle-aged man panicked and explained hysterically. "Humph. Keep your eyes open. If you look where you shouldn't look again, I'll let you know how to write the word regret." Duan Lingtian retracted his foot and snorted coldly. "Yes, yes." The wretched middle-aged man quickly responded. He did not dare to neglect or hesitate at all. After he struggled to stand up, he did not dare to look at Feng Tianwu anymore, even if it was just a glance. Upon seeing this, Lu Rui and Lu Ji, who were standing at the side, looked at each other and saw the realization in each other's eyes. It seemed like it was just as they had guessed. The relationship between Elder Duan and Feng Tianwu was not simple at all. "Lead the way." Duan Lingtian shouted as he looked at the wretched middle-aged man. His eyes flashed fiercely. Yes. Yes. The wretched middle-aged man was really afraid of Duan Lingtian now. Without any hesitation, he took the lead and rose into the air. He flew toward the east at an extremely fast speed. However, Duan Lingtian, who had already informed Lu Rui, followed the wretched middle-aged man at a leisurely pace even though he was flying with Feng Tianwu. Whoosh! A moment later, Lu Ji rose into the air and caught up with Duan Lingtian and the other two in just a blink of an eye. "How did you find the soul-anchoring grass in that place?" Duan Lingtian looked at the wretched middle-aged man and asked nonchalantly along the way. "Soul-anchoring grass?" The wretched middle-aged man was stunned. "It's the grass that I put a bounty on," Duan Lingtian said. "I discovered it by accident when I passed by that place. Fortunately, I ran away quickly that time. Otherwise, I would have died in the hands of that demon." A heartfelt fear appeared on the wretched middle-aged man's face when he recalled his previous experience. "How far is it from here?" Duan Lingtian asked again. "With our current speed, we'll be there in a day and a night at most," the wretched middle-aged man said. A day and a night was not a long time for Duan Lingtian. It passed in the blink of an eye. When the dawn of the next day shrouded the land and shone on Duan Lingtian saw a continuous mountain range in the distance that was approaching them. "It's there." At this moment, the wretched middle-aged man opened his mouth and said to Duan Lingtian and the other two. To be more precise, he was speaking to Duan Lingtian and Lu Ji. As for Feng Tianwu, he did not even dare to look at her. It was obvious he still remembered Duan Lingtian's warning. Whoosh! 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 With their speed, the continuous mountain range appeared before their eyes in just a short while. They flew until they were above the mountain range before they came to a halt. "Elder Duan, the 10 grade 1 life recovery pills." At this moment, the wretched middle-aged man looked at Duan Lingtian and hesitated to speak. "Humph. As long as you bring me to what I'm looking for, I'll naturally give you the 10 grade 1 life recovery pills. Where's the grass you saw? Lead the way." Duan Lingtian snorted coldly. "Thank you, Elder Duan." After obtaining a definite answer from Duan Lingtian, the wretched middle-aged man heaved a sigh of relief and thanked Duan Lingtian happily. "This way." Subsequently, he took the lead and led the way to the side of the mountain range. Soon after, they arrived at a narrow and long canyon. The canyon was shrouded in fog, and they could not see the situation inside at first glance. It's right in front. The wretched middle-aged man led the way forward. His footsteps were extremely fast, as though he was afraid he would not see the soul-stabilizing grass if he was too late. Although the wretched middle-aged man's footsteps were very fast, however, Duan Ling Tian and the other two did not feel the slightest bit of pressure, and they easily followed him. In this canyon, the deeper they went, the thicker the fog was. It was impossible to see the situation in front of them. Duan Ling Tian could not help but frown. Whoosh! Soon after, a flash appeared in front of Duan Ling Tian's eyes. He realized Lu Ji had arrived in front of him and was following the wretched middle-aged man closely to lead the way. Elder Duan, follow me closely with Miss Tian Wu. As long as you're not more than 10 meters away from me, even if that void stage peak demon attacks you, he won't be able to do anything to you. Lu Ji said to Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu. His tone was filled with confidence in his own strength. Duan Ling Tian did not comment on Lu Ji's words. After all, currently, as long as he did not encounter a void stage peak demon who had comprehended 3 types of 9th level void transformation concepts, he would be able to fight and even kill his opponent. Thank you, Elder Ji. Although he did not comment, he still expressed his sincere gratitude to Lu Ji for being so considerate of him. Duan Ling Tian and Feng Tianwu walked side by side and followed closely behind Lu Ji. As for Lu Ji, he followed closely behind the wretched middle-aged man. The 4 of them went into the canyon one by one in order. After an unknown amount of time. Wait a minute. Lu Ji's silhouette disappeared before Duan Lingtian's eyes for the umpteenth time. However, this time, horror dawned on Duan Lingtian's face as he suddenly came to a halt. As Duan Lingtian came to a halt, Feng Tianwu came to a halt as well. Huh? Feng Tianwu looked at Duan Lingtian in confusion. There's an illusory formation that's fused with the concealment formation here. Duan Lingtian said with a grave expression, Elder Ji and that fellow entered the illusory formation when they were unprepared. They're trapped inside. Illusory formation. Feng Tianwu was confused. After losing her memory, she did not even remember what an illusory formation was. Duan Lingtian. While Duan Lingtian was observing his surroundings, a familiar yet unfamiliar cold voice resonated from behind him and entered his ears clearly. Who's there? Although Duan Lingtian felt that the voice was slightly familiar, he could not recall whose voice it was, so he hurriedly turned around. With just a glance, he saw 2 figures. One was a middle-aged man dressed in gray, and the other was an old man with white hair and eyebrows. The gray-clad young man was the one who spoke. Lu Song. Duan Lingtian recognized the gray-clad young man. His face darkened, and his eyes gleamed coldly. It's you. How is it? Are you surprised? The gray-clad young man was the Lu clan's first young master, Lu Song. He was the elder brother of the Lu clan's 3rd young master, Lu Huai, whom Duan Lingtian had killed when he first arrived at the Lu clan. You're the one who set up the illusory formation that's fused with the concealment formation. However, Duan Lingtian ignored Lu Song's mocking question. His gaze landed on the old man next to Lu Song as he asked in a deep voice. He still remembered the old man's surname was Guan. That's right. The old man did not deny Duan Lingtian's question. Instead, he stared at Duan Lingtian with gleaming eyes. However, I didn't expect you to be able to see through the illusory formation I set up. It's fused with the concealment formation. How did you discover it? When the old man reached the end of his sentence, he looked at Duan Lingtian with dread. You're not the only inscription master on Cloud Continent. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.